Hey, you guys. I totally forgot that I even made like a little Christmas-centric Sidetracks thing. Although I didn't make like a card for it, but I will. I can't think of everything.
Man.
So happy holidays, you guys. It's Christmas Eve.
I know.
Oh my God.
Man, we cook so much shit.
My tummy hurts.
Yeah. Hold on. I gotta turn the volume off on this.
Yeah. That's why we like wanted to wait until like the show was later, because we were making a turkey and that wasn't going to be done till that wasn't actually done till like 5 almost, was it?
Yeah. And that's gonna take us a week to eat all that. I made 3 pies.
Yeah, among millions of other things.
I had stuff to do it, so I did it.
I haven't even had any of the pie left. I had 1 plate of, I had some turkey. You made from scratch mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Stuffing, cream corn, all kind of stuff. Green bean casserole.
Brazilian cream corn.
Yeah, which is in the book.
Made pumpkin pie. I made
made apple pie.
Made an apple pie. And then I made a pecan pie. And then I had pie crust dough left over. So I put it inside ramekins and cooked up some quick 3-berry mix and made filling for that and baked those. Made little mini pies. They were good. Ate those yesterday.
Yeah, we had those last night.
Just put some whipped cream on them. Ate them out of the damn ramekin. It was really good.
There's so much. That's what always bums me out about. I mean, I love Thanksgiving and I love like these big feasts and stuff like that. But I'm always like, my poor little stomach.
Yeah.
It's always like everything looks so good and I always want to like eat some of it. So I have like 1 plate and then I'm just like, oh man, I really don't feel like I should eat anymore because I feel kind of sick. But then I'm just like, but I want some of this and that and the other thing. And then I eat another half plate and then I'm like, oh, why did I do that?
Well, you work on it slowly.
It's like,
work on it slowly.
Because I was like really excited about particularly the apple pie and I was just like, oh, I'm going to get some apple pie. And I'm just like, oh my God. Now I'm just, I mean, maybe like later tonight.
Later tonight we'll get some.
I'll have a piece, but right now, and we ate like a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
But I'm still sitting here going, oh.
Yeah.
It's so much.
I made this Polish beets stuff. It's like a puree of beets with a little bit of sugar, a little bit of thickening agent in there, and a little bit of vinegar. It's good. I like it. It's good on any meat. A little bit of cream in it.
Made yams too.
Yeah, with the marshmallows on top.
I mean, there was just gravy and rolls and
2 different kinds of gravy. Turkey gravy and vegetable gravy out of the damn stock pot. I can't let those juices go away. And then the water that I boiled the potatoes in, I saved all that water and I used that for the vegetable gravy as a thickener.
Yeah, you shouldn't waste anything. I mean, come on. It's all flavor.
Don't waste anything.
That's the thing, though. I would submit that we kind of go crazy on Thanksgiving, especially, and Christmas this year, too, because honestly...
I did it so I didn't have to cook for Christmas.
Yeah, well, we made, like... I kind of feel like we made a little bit more food for Christmas because for Thanksgiving, we actually just bought pies because we were like, fuck it, we didn't really want to make pies from scratch, but this year, like, made 3 pies from scratch. Yeah. So
it looks like everybody's here.
But that's why he made all the food over the past couple days and like made it all today. And we had like a big, feast this evening. So it's like tomorrow we can just get up and we don't have to cook anything because they'll be just,
It'll be ready.
Yeah, the'll be leftovers out the wazoo.
Really won't have to cook for a week.
Yeah, well, that's always a plus.
Just be eating off that shit for a week.
I know. I think all the mashed potatoes are going to go first because I'm going to inhale all of them.
Well, everything's multi-purpose, you know what I mean? Mashed potatoes goes with anything. All that stuff's multi-purpose.
And it's good because I like the turkey dark meat.
Yeah.
And you don't really like it all that much.
No, she gets all the dark meat.
I get all the dark meat, so that's like really good. I like the white meat too. It's just that
it's okay. It's just I prefer the white meat.
Yeah, I mean I like both kinds, but I don't know. Dark meat to me is just a little bit better. It's just a little more flavorful. Mm-hmm. And white meat has a tendency to get a little bit drier. Although honestly, we don't usually. I mean,
I know how to cook it.
You know how to cook it. Yeah. I mean, the turkey made. I had like mostly dark meat, but then I had a piece of white meat too, just to try it, and it was just like really, really moist. So
yeah,
it came out really good.
Okay, so today is fucking holiday sidetracks. Oh, it's like an open lines Friday. We can talk about anything, any subject, got paranormal, unsolved mysteries, just any questions, anything you guys want to talk about. We can talk about the Jolly Fat Man. We can talk, we can talk about Mrs. Fat Man.
Mrs. Fat Man.
Yeah, that's Mrs. Claus. You can talk about anything you want.
Sorry, I'm watching Pookie behind you. She's back there like playing with one of her like little Halloween mousies back there.
She's rolling on her back fighting or something. Yeah, fight it.
We were telling her before we started the show, like Tom was over there mixing the drinks, and Pookie's just sitting there watching him intently. And I was like, is she learning how to be a bartender? And then I had like a really funny...
Learn how to mix drinks and everything.
Yeah, then I had like a really funny mental picture of little Pookie in a little uniform standing behind a bar like pouring grenadine and shit.
Yeah. Knows the exact amount of grenadine.
She would be a good bartender, I think. How to
mix. She's back there mixing.
With her little bitty little great paws.
Asking if we want a drink. You guys want a drink? Yeah, give me a drink. They've had some guys that have trained a dog to get the fucking beer out of the refrigerator. Give me a beer, and then they're fucking
that to me is like hilarious and awesome at the same time because it's so I like it because it's contradictory. You're so lazy that you can't get up and get your own beer, but on the other hand, it probably took a really, really long time to train the dog to do that. Maybe not. But I don't know. That's just like really, really funny to me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else about what Pookie was doing today, but I forgot what it was. She was doing something like goofy that was funny.
Yeah. They're already asking me to fucking put wigs on.
It's a little early for that. Although we did start a little bit later, to be fair.
No need for me as a request. He wants us to talk about the Philadelphia experiment and any insights we might have.
We did a show about that, didn't we?
The whole show on it, but maybe he didn't hear it.
I can't remember that much about it, to be honest with you, but I'm pretty sure we did actually do.
Ilsa's getting ready to get on a train to her parents' house. There's a feast waiting for her around there. And then she's going to get a fucking slice of pizza.
On the way there. How long does it take to get there?
Yeah. If it was up to us, Tom and Jim, would you mediate alien contact or hold off? All right. Okay. So, let's start with the alien contact thing. If aliens wanted to contact us, nobody would be able to stop it. There wouldn't be any mediation. They would just come down and start communicating.
Hey, we're going to talk at you fuckers, whether you like it or not.
They would probably already have it figured out. They'd know our languages, know how we communicate. They'd probably speak to us through kind of like an AI avatar first. Probably look just like a human. They probably wouldn't want any, and then they'd probably show representations of what they look like if it was possible. So they might be non-physical. You never can tell. You know, they might just be a ghost in a machine. They might be a like a soul inside of an internet somewhere, inside a spaceship. They might not be biological. I think it's more likely that any alien that would contact us would not be biological. That it would lean more towards that. Something that had conquered by the limitations of biology.
Next Dimension Media says, wondering if you guys have seen Bad Sport on Netflix. Love to hear Tom's take on the Horse Hitman episode. No, we haven't seen that. Actually, I haven't even heard about that.
The what Hitman? The what?
Horse Hitman.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, that's not. That's on Netflix. So yeah, I haven't even heard anything about that one. But one of these days we'll check it out. Ilsa said, "I'm fucking starving. Door to door, it'll take about 2 hours." Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's the holidays. It's all about indulgence. You don't get to do it. Yeah. You know, the rest of the year. So I'm just like, man, if you want some pizza, have some.
Okay, so Philadelphia experiment. I think the case was a hoax. The story can be traced back to a guy, I forgot what his name was, kind of had a Hispanic name, and he was telling stories or wrote a story about it.
I remember. Yeah, I remember us talking about that.
And then an investigator tried to home in on that guy, and he was very elusive. He was kind of a skinny prankster, maybe like kind of on the autism spectrum. I think he did have a naval background. Maybe a couple years in the Navy, but it was a made-up story.
It's a good story, though.
Yeah. He was probably inspired by degaussing ships' hulls.
Yeah.
Which they do have that ability. They would degauss the ship of a hull, or the hull of a ship, so the compasses would read correctly. And, you know, you have to wrap a bunch of fucking wires and fucking throw a bunch of juice down the damn hull of the ship and try to get the damn electromagnetic charges out of it or something. I don't know exactly how it's done. I'm not an expert on that. But that's probably where he got the idea. if you could make ships invisible, it would probably only be invisible to radar. There's a possibility where the Navy might have considered that, hey, maybe we should have, maybe it's possible to cloak a battle carrier group. So if you paint it with radar, that you don't get a return.
It's not crazy to see how a story like that could have become.
Right. So
because, like you said, being invisible to radar is a thing.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they don't mean like literally invisible, like you can't see it when you look at it.
Right.
That's the two completely different things.
Well, even in the 80s, when they were talking about invisible planes, people were confused between invisible planes and invisible to radar.
Right.
They were talking about the F-117 stealth fighter. It was invisible to radar.
Yeah, it wasn't like Wonder Woman's invisible plane.
Took a while for that, but that plane was just a rumor for a while. Bunch of weird shit about that plane. There was a woman, I remember seeing an interview with her. It was back in the very early 80s or late 70s. I remember her doing the interview. It was on a damn daytime talk show where she saw a UFO and she drew it, and she said she was walking. She lived in a kind of a remote area, and she heard a sound, and she looked to her right, and coming up, she was down inside a little valley, not a big valley, a little valley, and what a plane not a plane, but a UFO came right over the top of her, the crest of the hill, and flew right over, and she saw it, and she drew it. Sure, she had somebody sketch it for her. There was a whole investigator there, and he goes, "I know this is the truth. She did see this UFO." And when you looked at it, it was flat on the bottom, it was black, and it looked like a damn triangle top on it, and lights and things sticking up like antenna. And you could take that fucking frontal end, that picture that she drew of that UFO, and put it right alongside the front silhouette of an F-117 fighter, and that's exactly what she saw. She said it was a black triangle that flew over her head. Stealth fighter.
Well, it was probably nice for her to find out that she wasn't crazy.
Yep.
And that she wasn't seeing extraterrestrials.
Yeah, stealth fighter. Flew right over top of her.
They're like, nope, that was a real thing. You saw it.
And she said it wasn't silent, that it made noise, made a whooshing sound, She said, like it had jets. But she said it was a black triangle, and it was diamond-shaped on the front, and they drew it, and it's F-117. It had bright lights on it. And, yeah. And because nobody knew that plane existed in the early 70s, early 80s, or late 70s, early 80s.
Mary Connolly says, do you think our pets know when we listen to scary or terrible topics?
Yeah, they can hear emotion in your voice. They know.
Yeah. Pookie kind of gets upset if we're like watching a horror movie that has a lot of screaming in it.
Yeah, she knows.
She doesn't really like that. It kind of like stresses her out some.
Yeah.
Normally, she doesn't really care about stuff that's on a screen. She knows that's not real.
Yeah.
She doesn't usually react to it. Mostly what she'll do is like if we're watching something on the TV, she jumps up in front of it and is like, hey, look at me, instead of at the TV. I did notice, though, last night, and I told you about this, last night, because I said, well, we need to get the Christmas mood, right? So we watched Die Hard, obviously, because it's Christmas. Then we watched Muppet Christmas Carol. And then I saw that Amazon also had Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas for $1.99. So I was like, ooh, let's watch that too, even though it was getting kind of late. Now, when we were watching that, Pookie sat on the bench at the end of our bed and watched pretty much the whole thing, like, with rapt attention. I don't know if it was because the little otter puppets kind of look like her. Like, they were little and fuzzy and... and it's kind of like an older show, so it wasn't like real crisp. Maybe she saw it different, but she just like sat there and watched the whole thing. Like especially when like the little mama otter was on screen and she was like singing and stuff. Pookie was like looking right at it. Yeah. Normally she doesn't do that. Normally
because it was a real object. It wasn't animated. I think it's
maybe that's what it was. But yeah, she
looked like a little animal singing. So
that's what I thought. Like she seemed like she was kind of really interested in it.
She she's been sitting at the foot of the bed when some kind of horror thing happened on a horror movie, and she's turned around and looked at us. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, did you see
like
that?
somebody will scream or something like fucked up will happen.
She like, huh?
Like somebody will get chopped up or something in the movie.
Yeah, we're like, it's okay.
And she'll turn around and be like, is everything, is she all right?
Yeah.
So she definitely does now. I mean, and she knows if, like if one of us is upset, you know what I mean? She knows that the tone of voice. She gets like agitated.
Yeah.
So she does
arguing,
know.
she knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she totally does.
She'd be checking on her, and then she'll check it on me. You guys mad? You guys mad? She does it.
It's just really funny. I honestly, though, until we were watching Emmett Otter last night, I've never seen her give that much sustained attention to something on the TV before.
Yeah. But no, he was hoping that there was something to the Philadelphia experiment. No, the story can be traced back to a guy who was telling a story, and they never really interviewed him. He would when they tried to track down the origin of the story that led to him. I think it was back in the '60s that they isolated him. Wasn't it the early '60s? Is that where they tracked the story down?
I can't remember now.
60s to mid 60s. He was evasive and he was hard to find. He wasn't making much money, and he was traveling from one kind of low-rent dishwasher type job to the next. He wasn't dumb, though. He was just kind of like a mad scientist type kid. And he liked paranormal stuff and UFO stuff. He had in his possession a bunch of books. They found, if I remember correctly, somebody got a hold of a book that he once owned, and he had been scribbling in the margins a bunch of things, and about UFOs. So he was in the paranormal scene. That's who they that story down to. Now he was, I think he did do time in the Navy, but it wasn't on the Philadelphia. And then they tracked down the crew of the Philadelphia, and there was nothing to any of that. There was nothing unusual.
Looks like we were red for a second.
Yeah, it's red over here.
Shit. No. Not already. Come on.
Yeah. See
Come
if it comes
on.
back.
Don't. Come on. You can do it. I think it's coming back.
It's back.
Okay, it's coming back.
It's back.
Sorry about that. We didn't say anything important in the middle.
No. They tracked it down. They tracked down the crew of the Philadelphia, and nothing unusual happened during the time that they're talking about. And that ship was just decommissioned eventually. I think it might have been sold off to another country, or it was dismantled, one of the two. But no, nothing happened during that time to that ship or that crew. There aren't any people missing or anything. Everything is accounted for.
Well, it was just one of those things where it was like a story that kind of got repeated so many times, and people lost track of where it came from.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what we were talking, and I think I was talking about this a little bit on the Christmas show, too, where we were talking about the mistletoe bride story. That I'm not saying that it's completely impossible that didn't happen, like that woman, getting stuck in the trunk or whatever, but the stories that came out about it later were probably just based on that poem that somebody had written, which may or may not have been based on something, or may have just been a fucking story. And I just think, like, the source of it kind of became lost over the years as it got more popular. Just Pepper's asking, do you think if aliens were friendly, that there would be a bias against them? Do you think it would change social biases in our current culture? Friendly is in not trying to conquer Earth and subjugate humanity.
I didn't understand the question. What was the question again? If they're friendly, we become friendly?
No. Do you think there would be biases against them?
No. No.
It would depend.
I don't
know
really
what?
Know what bias? I mean, what's she talking about? You saying would we be racist against aliens? Is that what she's asking?
You know what? I think it would probably depend on
what the aliens are like.
How different they were from us. Sure. If they looked really different. I mean, for whatever reason, I thought of District 9, where they kind of became an underclass because they looked like big insects.
Yeah.
So obviously, if something looked more like something that humans don't like, then they would probably have a harder time of it than if they looked, more noticeably human-like.
Yeah. Another thing about them out of District 9 is that they weren't very human. Remember that? They said they were. Yeah. They were like in a caste system. Some of them were kind of just robotic. They didn't really know much of anything. They just knew how to fix the ship. And then other ones were more intelligent. They weren't all the same in there. Remember? Yeah. The one that had the little tiny child alien child, and they were trying to extract some kind of fuel from its fuel pellet so they could leave. Remember that he was smarter than all the rest of them, and he abandoned a lot of them because they were just kind of like chattel, you know, the other aliens. Because we assume that just because it's a successful spacefaring civilization, you would assume that they were all intelligent. That's assuming a lot.
Humans have been to space too, but most of them are idiots.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's probably the same with any other planet.
No, it might be even more. It might be even more extreme than that. That there basically are brain bugs, and then there are damn brawn bugs, and just workers, and some of them might be just insects, you know. But they're controlled through, you know, chemicals or telepathy, and they just work, you know, on some spaceship. But they're not intelligent, really. But there might be like a hive mind, or there might be, you know, some of the ones at the top might be kind of like queen ants or drone ants, and they might have a superior intellect. Because really, it's, when you think about it, it's not in a species advantage for everyone to be intelligent. That would cause a lot of problems. There are too many chiefs and not enough Indians. It would be more efficient probably if it was kind of more like an ant colony, where a couple of them are real intelligent, and the rest of them are all expendable. But they have a very high birth rate, and they may understand technology. But it doesn't matter if the other ones die. There's not much to them, and many of them are born every year, and they don't live long anyway. Maybe they only live a couple months or a couple years, but they don't need to know anything. Maybe they're just instructed to do things just kind of through telepathy, or, you know, chemical signals like ants, you know.
See, all that kind of stuff fascinates me, like insect communication,
yeah,
like how ants and bees and stuff like that communicate with one another. Yeah. That's like really fascinating to me.
Yeah, and you might have some kind of alien ant, if that's what you want to call it. It's fucking big, you know, it's bigger than a person, inside a spaceship, fucking doing advanced electronics, but it doesn't even understand what it's doing. It's just doing what it's told to do. You know, just that would actually probably be better for a species survival. It worked with ants and it worked with bees and things.
Yeah, David Robertson is saying he was in the Navy for a long time and said about the Philadelphia experiment that it was from degaussing. That's where that came from. Oop, went red again. Boop, 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 boop. Come on, don't, please don't. I thought nobody was going to be online tonight because it's Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Guess the traffic's heavy.
Maybe it is. I'm not really sure. Because I was kind of thinking, it's Christmas Eve. People are going to be like doing other shit rather than being online. But maybe not. Maybe everybody's like online watching Christmas movies and shit.
Now, the whole thing about alien conquest is actually quite kind of silly when you think about it. If you have a spacefaring civilization, it could travel between stars. That's a fucking mighty leap. It takes a lot of technology to do that. Why the hell would you conquer an inhabited planet when there are so many raw materials just out there just for the taking? You know, that's like part of the problem with L. Ron Hubbard's fucking Battlefield Earth. You had these corporate aliens that fucking conquer the Earth so they could get gold, bars of gold.
There's gold everywhere.
Gold fucking everywhere in the universe. This damn supernova goes off and fucking blows out pieces of gold the size of planets. And shit's out there just floating around. So you know,
it's like, go get that.
Yeah, gold wouldn't be worth anything to a spacefaring universe, civilization. Gold would just be everywhere. You'd be able to get anything easily. Be out in damn asteroid belts or just floating around. Another thing that people don't realize is you see all those stars out there in the universe. They all have planets. And according to surveys, like a lot of them have Earth-like planets, which are Earth-type planets, especially when they're around an Earth-type star. I think they said fucking 1/4 of them seem to have Earth-type planets.
Which is a lot.
That's like, might as well just say all of them have it. That's just, those numbers are huge when you think of that. You might as well just say, yeah, they all have Earth-like planets. Now, whether or not it's habitable or inside a habitable zone, they're saying, yes, it's in a habitable zone, but, you know, it might be too cold or too hot. But none of that matters. The terrestrial-type planets are fucking common. for every one of those stars that you see, there's like 3 or 4 other ones that you don't see, these little damn brown dwarfs. And those possibly could have habitable planets. So there's shit tons of those stars around. You don't even see those. Now, for all of those that you don't see, there's 20 times that numbers in fucking rogue planets, which are planets like the Earth or fucking even Jupiter, that somehow during the formation of the damn their solar system, they got slung out. So they're just flying around. A planet without a star just went off in a random direction until it hits something or falls into another star, but probably didn't hit anything. So there were probably planets in our solar system during their early formation, and some of them got fucking slung out because they weren't in a stable orbit. There's a possibility that, you know, there was one guy that went through it and fucking he did the damn computations and said that there's a possibility that some of those rogue planets could be habitable, because some planets generate enough heat just on their own from their cores to where even if there was no sun, it would be frozen it would be frozen maybe in some spots, but it would probably have zones on it that were, it might be about 50-60 degrees. That's warm enough for life, you know, especially if there's a bunch of volcanic activity or if there's fucking geysers underneath the ocean. So there's all kinds of possibilities. Now, I think it's unlikely that there'd be life on a rogue planet, because a rogue planet probably goes through a lot of shit in its fucking life. But who knows? It might have enough pressure and enough nuclear damn activity in its core to where it would keep it from freezing. I don't think the Earth would. The Earth would freeze without the sun. But I think
just like in that movie we saw.
Yeah, the Earth would freeze. But if the Earth was more massive and it had more nuclear type materials in its core, it could generate enough heat to keep itself from freezing over in certain circumstances. And then you say, well, if it had that much mass, you'd be crushed from the gravitational forces. Not really. The bigger the planet is, the less the force of gravity is at its surface, because the surface is further away from the center. There's a damn what do you call it? There's a whole theorem to fucking dictate that. It might be a very massive planet, but it's so big that at its surface, the gravitational pull really isn't all that great. That's another amazing thing. I thought it was just sheer mass that dictated that. It's not. Size has a lot to do with it too.
Blaster One says, anyone heard of the Russian sleep experiment? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We did a show about that as well. And that's another one that was actually started out as a fictional story.
Yeah. And
then got picked up and people forgot where the source came from, so they thought that it really happened, but it's just a fiction. It's a good story, but it's fictional. Tammy says, you two are way better than spending time with my husband's family. Well, thank you. Well, I know. The holidays are fun, but like sometimes you do got to deal with like fucking, family members you're not really crazy about. It's like, we've all been there. Let's see. Tammy says, I know holidays are rough without my family. My daughter lives in California. My mom's in Pennsylvania, and I'm in Virginia. Yeah, I mean, at least I got to see my mom and my sister and them like a few weeks ago, so that's good, because I don't really get to see them all that often. But I don't know. I do kind of miss the old days when my grandma was alive, and we'd have the big thing at Christmas Eve, and everybody would go over there.
We're wearing the same shirt.
I know. I just realized that
that's actually not the same shirt.
It's not quite the same.
Not quite the same shirt.
This one's color.
Hers is in color.
And it has like a couple different things about it.
Yeah.
But
and my titties are bigger.
Your titties are bigger. Okay.
That's cute. The topic is open lines Friday. Whatever you want.
I mean, just like every other show that we do, pretty much.
There was somebody else asked some stuff earlier. We never got around to answer it. We lost connection again a little bit.
I don't think it's still green.
It's back. It was just me, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't turn red.
It was just me.
I didn't turn red. I've been green the whole time.
I think people asked some questions and we didn't get to actually answer it.
Well, sometimes people are asking them quicker than we can answer.
Ask them questions again and we'll get to them, people. What are we drinking? She's drinking a screwdriver and I'm drinking a tequila sunrise.
DJ Maniac says, my brother sent me 2 Blu-rays for Christmas. Little Shop of Horrors, the director's cut. Nice.
Yeah.
And Nothing But Trouble. I remember that movie being really fucking weird, but I can't really remember much of what happened in it.
We got a super chat.
Oh, we do? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I scrolled back up. Okay. Well, okay, there we go. Thank you very, very much. Can't stay long, but happy housewarming and Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we're having a good one. Like I said, we're sitting here like trying to digest.
Yeah.
After I'm actually glad that we pushed it to 7 instead of 6 because we ate at 5 and I was just kind of like, I'm glad I'm not doing the show at 6 because like my stomach's still hurting. I was like really, really full. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so what was I talking about? Oh, so like I mentioned earlier when we were watching Christmas shit last night, right? Tom says, well, we got to watch Die Hard. So I was like, okay, fine. So we watched Die Hard, which you can watch for free on IMDb TV. Like if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch. It has ads, but it's not really that big a deal. So we watched that, and then for whatever reason, I was like, well, we need to watch Muppet Christmas Carol now, which you had never seen, right? Even though Michael Caine is in it. I had actually forgotten. I love the Muppets, but I had actually forgotten how faithful an adaptation that was.
Yeah, it's good. I think I had seen it. It's just I forgot about it. What year was that?
92?
I was in the Army at that time.
Yeah.
For some reason, it did kind of look familiar. Michael Caine knocks it out of the park. Does a great job as Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, one of the best Scrooges. There have been a lot. I mean,
yeah.
Honestly. I like George C. Scott particularly as well, but...
And it's a faithful telling of it. It's good.
It is. There's like some little funny Muppet shit in there too, but not as much as you might think.
It's close to the original.
Yeah,
and they added little songs.
Yeah, and like all the little songs are good and shit like that. And then after that, like I said, we were scrolling through, and then for the little recommended stuff came up, and I was talking about Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Yeah.
The other day, like when we were talking about, and I was like, oh, I want to see that again because I was a little kid last time I saw it. Maybe not a little kid, but I probably saw it when I was a teenager. But I kind of wanted to see that again, and that was like I thought that was only like 20 minutes long, but it's not. It's like an hour. And the songs in that are good too. I think Paul Williams did the songs for that, which I didn't know at the time.
Yeah, I was commenting on those old programs with the Muppets, how much better quality the music was, and how much better the writing was. With the exception of some of those Pixar animated ones are pretty good too.
Most of the Pixar ones are pretty amazing.
Pixar is pretty good, yeah.
I really like. Now there's a lot of the newer ones that I have yet to see. Probably my favorite Pixar is actually probably Monsters, Inc.
I like the one with the damn little princess chick.
The little princess chick?
Yeah, the little barbarian princess chick. What was that? Remember that?
Brave?
Brave. That was pretty good. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
Brave.
The little Scottish
yeah, Brave is
girl.
Good. I like that one.
You'd probably like a lot of Pixar movies, actually.
Yeah, we were watching.
We liked the Toy Story movies. I liked the Toy Story ones.
We were watching those on AMC, our AMC app. Oh, during the day we would go down to AMC theaters. We could watch 3 of them a week. So we'd run out of them on some months. We'd watch those Pixar ones. It was funny because some of the animated like Pixar was like some of the best movies of that month.
Well, yeah.
Was the cartoon ones. I call them cartoons. They're not really. They're fucking video game animation type deals. But that Brave was good. And then they were showing It was funny because those grown man's fucking watching this fucking. We're seeing the.
It's a good thing I was with you. Everybody might think you were a sexual predator.
Yeah, they'd be like, you get,
or like a fucking child molester.
Yeah, I'm sitting there fucking watching the damn trailer to Frozen 2.
Frozen 2.
And I said, man, that looks good.
It did,
but I hadn't seen the first one.
You know what? I don't think I've seen the first one all the way through either.
Yeah,
which is
music and shit.
As culturally ubiquitous as that fucking movie is.
She's skating along and making ice and shit. And I said, man, that'd be like something back in high school, fucking in Brazil. We'd drop acid and go to the movies and watch some shit like that. Just be totally lost in it.
Thank you, Janet.
What did Janet say?
That's also very nice of you. Have a great holiday season. Thank you.
Very
right
much,
back at you. Happy holidays.
All these Christmas presents.
Oh, it's so nice. I was gonna say too, like I don't think she's here, but I was gonna say thank you to Sophie because she sent me a very nice donation today as well.
Yes, it was. We sent her a nice gift, though. She's going to open that tomorrow. She kind of knows what they are. She just doesn't know what they look like. She goes, that's boots. And I said, yes, that is boots. That is boots.
That's boots.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Oh, he said that he'd send us the DVD of Nothing But Trouble if we review it.
Okay.
I'd be kind of curious to see it. I kind of I don't even remember.
We got a backlog of
Was Dan Aykroyd in that?
Yeah. We got a shit
Did someone turn into a monster?
I don't remember. We got a shit ton of movies people have sent us over the years that we never got around to. I remember which ones we haven't seen though. We got to catch up on them. It's just that
I know I'm so disorganized.
What happened was that we got like 50 of them in 1 month, and we got overwhelmed. I was like, damn. So we only went for like the ones that were the ones that popped out at us. Thinking, I got Collateral twice. Wasn't that Collateral?
Yeah.
I got 2 Collaterals.
We still haven't done.
Still watched it.
We still haven't done Sexy Beast either, and you'd probably. I've seen that before, but you'd probably really like it.
Yeah.
I really like all those kind of like British crime.
Yeah, I gotta
movies.
set all the fucking ones that the viewers sent that we haven't watched yet. I gotta set them aside. I gotta make them a pile of them. We'll get through them.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get through them.
Yeah, I came up with a bunch more that I forgot I had because they were in the attic of the old house.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to do some of those too. Like I have 24-Hour Party People, and I have Kronos, the first Guillermo del Toro movie.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the old 50s horror movie.
No. Okay. Yeah, there's like I think I have a couple other Dario Argento ones like Stendhal Syndrome and stuff. I have Revenger's Tragedy. I have all kind of stuff. So I might get around to it. And I still am going to do like a big supercuts of all the Twin Peaks.
For some reason my shit keeps pausing, but it doesn't show it as pausing. Like it's been green the whole time.
Yeah, it's not.
I see why.
Because
Did
you forget to turn down your...
I gotta reboot it. I was in the past. I was in the past.
Tom's stuck in the past.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like, if I don't get too fucking drunk tonight, I was gonna go to Pluto TV today, and I kind of figured if I went to the MST or the Riff Tracks channel, then they'd be showing, like, all Christmas ones, but they weren't. And I was like, I'm not, and I like all of them, I'm just saying that it would have been cool if they'd have done, if they could have done the Christmas episodes of MST or all the Riff Tracks shorts and stuff. That would have been cool.
Ilse just said Merry Christmas on Messenger. She said that she wants to hear the whole thing for the whole Billy Idol Christmas album. I fucking got that. I got the whole Billy Idol Christmas album. Listen to it on CD. It's great.
DJ Maniac says 24-Hour Party People you can turn off after the first hour. Yeah, I mean, I love that movie, but after the Joy Division stuff is over and it goes to Happy Mondays and the rave stuff, that's not as interesting to me, obviously. I mean, it's still good, but I mean, definitely the first half is way, way better. Tammy says, a cute Christmas movie I love is Lost Christmas with Eddie Izzard. Ooh, you know what? I've never seen that. I like to try to see everything with him in it because he's awesome. But, yeah, I don't think I've seen that, actually. So I'm gonna have to look that up. I have, like, so much Christmas stuff I gotta watch. I'm just gonna... I mean, we rewatched stuff last night, but... last year because we did Christmas horror matinees, I think all the week of Christmas, so we actually got a lot of the good Christmas horror movies reviewed and like out of the way. Like we did Black Christmas, we did Christmas Horror Story, we did Better Watch Out, we did Silent Night Deadly Night too, I think. We did that weird ass French one, Code Noel, or what the fuck was that movie called? That was fucking weird.
I lowered my picture quality, so it should be okay.
Okay,
yeah.
Maybe it was your fault.
Yeah, it was trying to run at 720. I put it on like 300.
Okay.
320 something, or 320p.
No Need for Me Too says Santa Claus Conquers the Martians, MST3K, yearly watch. Yeah, I watch it pretty much every year. At least that one and the MST3K Santa Claus, the Mexican one with Pitch in it. And last year, I think I watched both of those and the newer one with Jonah Ray, The Christmas That Almost Wasn't. They're doing for the new season, which isn't going to be finished until next year. they're doing a Christmas episode, but I can't remember what movie they're doing. Because that was one of the things that on their, the thing they do on Thanksgiving, the Turkey Day Marathon, they came in and said what all the movies they were going to do, like, for next year are. So they had, so it was a good combination. It seemed like they had a Gamera one in there. I think they had an El Santo one in there. And then they had, like, maybe, like, a spy one. I can't remember all the ones that they did. But they were going to do a Christmas movie, and they're doing a Halloween episode, which they never did before. Which is weird now that I'm thinking about it. They never did, like, a Halloween special. No Need for Me Too said, not a fan of the newer ones that much. Yeah, I kind of feel, I get that. I liked them, though. But it's definitely a little bit of a different vibe. And so it took some getting used to. Especially the different voices for the bots.
Gotta watch Christmas Chronicles, man.
Yeah, we still gotta watch Christmas Chronicles, too.
I'll watch the first one and the second one. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can watch that tonight, then, because we've seen that a lot of times.
Kurt Russell.
We watched the second one last year, right?
Yeah. We watched them both.
I didn't like that one as much, but...
It's not as fun.
It's not as good as the first one, but...
It's okay.
What are you going to do? But it's still pretty good. Yeah, DJ Maniac says just go watch Control instead. Yeah, I agree with that. I actually don't have that on Blu-ray, I don't think. But that was also like a really, really great movie. That was kind of mostly based on Deborah Curtis's book, right? Touching from a Distance. That was about Ian Curtis, which I have back there somewhere. But I think that's what that movie was mostly based around. So it was mostly about her perceptions of him. And as well as like interviews with other band members and stuff. Oh, another thing that somebody told me we need to watch is there's a new-ish documentary about the Velvet Underground. I can't remember what streaming service it's on, but it sounds pretty good. So we need to see that as well. No Need for Me Too. Kirk Cameron saves Christmas. Oh my God. You know what? If I was more of a masochist, I might sit and watch that. I did listen to the God Awful Movies breakdown of it, and it sounds atrocious. But it sounds so atrocious that I almost kind of want to watch it. I don't know if I want to. Though. It's an uber Christian Christmas movie with Kirk Cameron in it.
I don't know who Kirk Cameron is.
He used to be like on what the fuck sitcom was he on in the 80s? He was like really, really popular. What the fuck show was that? I'll remember it in a minute.
Got a super chat.
Thank you, Zach. Merry Christmas, Booze and Ghouls. From that angle, Tom looks like SpongeBob in the episode where he gets the inflatable muscle arms.
I don't know if that's good or bad. It's coming from Zach. Zach's fantasizing.
And then DJ Maniac said, I'd watch Kirk Cameron shuts the fuck up about Jesus, but he hasn't made it yet.
That's a good one.
Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. That's a good one. Right? He did a lot of movies. Like, well, Kirk Cameron, he kind of went the same route as, like, Kevin Sorbo and, like, some other actors that were kind of like B-list actors, but then they went all fundamentalist, and now the only things they can be in are Christian movies.
But they're the A-listers of the fundamentalist.
Well, yeah, because they were, like, the only fuckers that were even remotely famous before they went. Didn't Melissa Joan Hart go that way, too? Although I think she's still in normal movies every now and then.
Here's the thing, man. I've done this before.
Growing Pains, thank you. That's what that show was called.
I got nothing against Christian movies or Christians. I would love to make a Christian movie. Mine would be Revelations. And it would be, with all the CG shit, it would be the Book of Revelations. It would be scary as fuck. And it would be like right out of the... It would have a beast coming out of the ocean, fucking the horror of Babylon. It'd have all that. And it would just be like an acid trip, you know? Be like, I don't know. I think I could make a fucking badass flick. It would be a trip. The problem with Christian movies is the writing. They just don't know how to write. There's a few exceptions. Darren Aronofsky's fucking Noah was badass. I like that.
Yeah, but he's an atheist as far as I know.
It doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying
it doesn't matter.
Atheists make better Christian movies.
Yeah, it's the writing. It's the talent isn't there. I guess the talent and the experience isn't there in the Christian independent film scene. You think that it would. You think that maybe there would be talent, but
I mean, you think at least one person would be able to.
You'd think that rising up out of the damn shit pile would be at least a couple of good ones. You might say, well, Mel Gibson, because he did Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, but he did normal movies. He mostly does normal movies.
Yeah. You know, fucking Mel Gibson can make good movies. I loved Apocalypto. It just, and you could say in a way that might have been a Christian movie. Not really. The Conquistadors show up in the end. But yeah, and then there was that one that the only one that was, well, actually there was two of them that I remember. There was a Christian movie about the rapture that fucking freaked the hell out of me. Been a long time to remember the name of it.
I think it was just called The Rapture or
Might
something.
have been. You thought people were crazy, and it turned out it was actually happening.
Yeah, I remember that.
That one was weird.
Wasn't Mimi Rogers in that?
I think so.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Right.
It can be done. We've talked about this before. It's can be done.
Right. It's the writing.
It just doesn't get done all that often for whatever reason.
And then that Bill Paxton flick where they were
Frailty.
Frailty, where they're killing them demons. That was fucking awesome. And that was a Christian movie.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
it was really good. And what made those movies good was the writing and the story. They knew how to manipulate you as the audience. They were also fucking up your expectations of things. There was a horror elements in them, and horror and supernatural elements, but they were sticking close to the Christian source material. And some of the shit that is in the Christian source material would be like a horror movie if it was actually happening.
I kind of feel like the problem with a lot of you know Christian centered entertainment that's geared toward that audience is that they don't really want to go full on horror because right, and I think that's a mistake.
Right. They want it to be lighthearted and fun, and I guess and fun for the whole family. Well, you've now just clipped the balls off of Christianity, because the most interesting parts of Christianity are the shit that's kind of wrath of God, scary kind of shit. And really, that's kind of the message, you know. Fucking, it's got to be like this because the Lord's coming back and y'all are going to get punished. And fucking, then there's the Antichrist. And blah, blah, blah. There's that. Even though not all the Christian churches had the Book of Revelations. Not all, like, you know, Eastern Orthodox is not an apocalyptic version of Christianity. It doesn't have revelations. But that doesn't matter. The Western Christian audience has revelations. It is an apocalyptic Christian sect. Cult, basically. They're all cults. I don't care how big they are. All religions are cults. It just gets big enough to where you have to recognize it as a religion. But even the cults are being recognized. A cult is just a small sect. That's all it is. It's not a derogatory thing to be said. It's just that everything springs from cults. Cults just get big. And everything that people think is canon, and everything that Christians and other religions, what they think is orthodoxy, actually all springs from heresy. Because when those beliefs were brand new, they were under attack by other sects, and that's heresy. You can't believe in that. But over time, they became orthodoxy. So everything is heresy. That's where it starts. So in Christian tradition and the tradition of all these other religions, you can basically say and do whatever you want. You can reboot it. You can reinterpret it, because people have been doing it for thousands of years. Like, people will attack Mormonism in the Book of Mormon, saying, "Oh man, that's heresy. That's just something made up. That didn't happen." Man, that is just
like, none of that shit happened.
None of that shit happened. You're like,
why are you getting picky about this one particular thing?
Right. The Mormon stories are equally as historical as the Christian stories, because neither one really happened that way. It's just that writing religions is an art form, and they are written and they're created. Just ask L. Ron Hubbard. And that's the way these religions are born, or there's personalities and groups behind them that are writing this stuff or compiling it from people who wrote it before them. They'll just be like dudes who are into superhero comics. They're like, "Oh man, we're gonna have fucking Superman fucking 1 through 30, but no, we're not having the Superman that he wrote. We're not gonna put that in there. We don't like that. That doesn't fucking discuss, fucking kryptonite, or it's just, there's." So they were always picking and choosing what would end up in the holy books. What are they saying?
Thank you, Zach. It's interesting how most Christian movies are also badly acted and have that ugly as fuck network TV look to them.
Yeah.
You don't have to use every light on set. Yeah. If you have, I don't have a subscription to this personally, but in case you didn't know, there is a Christian Netflix, and it's called PureFlix, because they can't think of their own original name.
Yeah.
And even the logo kind of looks the same, except the background is blue instead of red.
Yeah.
And this one dude, David A.R. White, as far as I know, he is either like the main owner of PureFlix or one of the main owners. And he writes and stars in a fuck ton of shows on there. Because they don't just have movies, they have like their own sitcoms and everything. And pretty much every, like, from what I can determine from like other channels I watch that cover it, everything on there is like a ripoff of some secular stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to make their own kind of lamer Christian version of it, like without swearing or booze or anything.
Let's do a Christian version of Tolkien. Or let's do a Christian version of Walking Dead.
I mean, so it's just like pretty much any, any sitcom that has any kind of like buzz about it, like Parks and Rec or something like that. They have like a Christian version of it, which is considerably shittier. Yeah. But what I was gonna say about Kirk Cameron was that he's done. I mean, Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas, I think, is the most the one that's like that people like to make fun of the most because it sounds like the most batshit crazy, to be honest with you. But he's also made a couple other ones. There was one that was called Fireproof, where he plays a fireman who has a porn addiction, and it's kind of mostly just like a drama about how you should be nice to your wife or something. I don't know. Like I said, that was another one that I saw on God Awful Movies. They do a lot of Kirk Cameron movies on there, and their breakdowns are like super funny. I mean, the breakdowns they do are sometimes longer than the actual movie, just because there's 3 of them and they just like talk about it so much. But the ones that they did Kirk Cameron Saves Christmas as well. But yeah, so any of those and any of the like creationist movies are always comedy gold, I find.
Yeah. But yeah, Zach, I think the problem with Christian product is that the market that they're selling to is very milquetoast.
Yeah, there's so much they can't do.
There's so much that they can't do. They're boxed in.
Yeah.
They don't want to offend any of them. So what you end up with is like a very Hallmark channel type shit. It's so bland and so toned down and watered down. It's just, you're not watching anything. And all the movies were kind of like that. And there's kind of like a fake air about them, like, I know your church is making you watch this movie, so let's pretend like we're all having fun. It's kind of like that kind of vibe. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I know this isn't the movie that you really want to be watching, but we're going to do a Christian version.
But since you're not really allowed to watch the other one. Since you're not allowed to watch another one,
there's kind of like that. It's kind of like they're talking to a captive audience. So
it's kind of like instead of having good cheese, you're having like a cheese product.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's because they have to be within a small, narrow framework of acceptability.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of topics they can't really talk about. They have a very specific agenda, and everything that they put across has to conform to that agenda.
Right. Which is funny, because when Christianity burst upon the Roman scene, according to Romans that first fucking contacted it, their comments were that it was just this bizarre belief about some criminal who got crucified and came back to life, and they eat his blood and they eat his flesh and drink his blood, which would be the Roman interpretation. They just said it's just a whole bunch of strange, what they called them, superstitions. Okay, and then they did weird stuff, evidently, like said, fuck it, you have to kill me, I'm not bowing to the emperor's statue. So I don't know if that actually happened. I think that this whole thing about being thrown to the lions, that's Christian church saying that. There aren't any contemporary records that are commentary about Christians being thrown to lions and being burned down the Appian Way. That was evidently fraudulent. The Romans didn't seem to take much interest in the Christians. I mean, they had so many religions, and they didn't persecute people based on religion. I think it was something made up afterwards. to make Christians seem like they were
Victimized,
persecuted before Rome officially became Christian. That's the only reason why that particular Roman religion survived is because the Roman Empire adopted it. You know, and it took a long time for it to really stick in the Roman culture because they had so many of them.
Stardog78 said Kirk Cameron actually attacks his evil, porn-ridden computer with an axe in the movie. Like it's the computer's fault that you went to a porn site.
Yeah.
Kirk Cameron. That wasn't your computer doing that. Oh my God, how is this porn getting on my computer? I didn't do that.
It's funny how they're constantly stuck in those old 1960s problems and 70s problems of the evils of porn. You know?
I'm like, yeah, I hate to tell you, but like that horse has left that barn.
Why are you worried about that?
Decades ago.
Yeah. That horse has left the barn a long time ago.
That horse left the barn, went across the world, went into outer space.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh shit. Yeah, because Dan Michael said Zachary Tom's right because evil is sexier. It's bad, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I kind of feel like, as I said, they have a very particular agenda they want to get across, and they only have, they're really kind of cutting themselves off at the knees because they don't have, there's all these topics or all these viewpoints that they can't address, whereas somebody who is coming from a more secular standpoint could write from any number of different perspectives or could write about any number of different topics, could even take on... Like, if you were writing a short story and you were like, well, I don't believe this particular thing, but would it be interesting if I wrote as a character who did believe that? Like, you can do that kind of stuff, but they won't do that. So it comes across as just, like, really, really limited. Yeah. And, and like I said, too, it kind of feels like they don't... You'd think that at least they'd have, like, some people that worked on crews and stuff like that knew how... to make movies. I mean, from what I've seen of, because like I said, I watch like God Awful Movies has stuff about it, and Nick DeRamio, he has a channel where sometimes he does stuff on PureFlix because he has a PureFlix subscription just for shits and giggles, and so like sometimes he'll watch some crazy shit on there. So I was watching some of his breakdowns of some of the sitcoms, and they look like ass. I mean, they look like... It looks like somebody, I was going to say it looks like somebody shot it on their cell phone, but it doesn't even look that good. It just looks terrible. Like the lighting is so bad, and just a lot of them are shot in what is very obviously, they shoot it in front of a green screen, like the actors, and then put it on top of, they buy some stock footage of like corporate office and like drop it in the background, and it looks really shit. I'm not really sure like why they think now... In this day and age, you can't get away with that anymore. YouTube videos have higher production quality than that. Seriously.
I don't think it's just a hemming themselves in thing like you were talking about before.
Well, that's one thing.
It's just... they ignore their best material. You know what I mean? Their best materials in Old Testament and New Testament scriptures, but they won't talk about that. For some reason, those aren't the movies. Like, why don't they do something about the Book of Daniel? About that damn big old statue with the clay feet and everything, and the guy's having a damn vision of fucking empires that have passed and some to come. It's kind of like Revelations, and that's got some spooky imagery in it. And you could do, it would be that a movie like that would be a damn trip. And then you could have it kind of hooked up where it's like part documentary, like Man Who Saw Tomorrow. You know what I mean? With some of it's narrated by Orson Welles or something. Like this is gonna happen. Fucking that movie, fucking The Man Who Saw Tomorrow, scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Scared the shit out of me. Even though those quatrains are all taken out of damn order and they're all shit mashed together about fucking.
But when you're a little kid, you don't know that, and you have like fucking you have fucking what's his name like telling you the shit.
Right, Orson Welles
telling you the shit in like his somber, very serious tones, and you're like a little kid seeing that, going, "Holy shit!
Right,
the world's gonna end."
But Book of Revelations would make a great movie. I could probably get 3 movies out of that, like a trilogy. Imagine that.
Well, shit, man,
like
I could
visuals.
even see, you could even do like a whole, I could even think of like a lot of product tie-ins you could do for that kind of shit. You could have like a line of toys and everything.
Right.
Or collectibles,
and it's showing all this imagery of scripture, you know what I mean? And fucking big old blazing, flaming backgrounds with looking the beast rising up out of the oceans and the seven heads and all the fucking the Whore of Babylon, and then it goes on, and then the angels fucking make him eat the little book, and then they open up the damn unbreak the seal, and the lamb unbreaks the seal, and fucking what falls out of the sky? Fucking stars fall out of the sky. Imagine that shit. You're outside and stars fall out of the sky and land on the ground. You're picking them up. Okay.
Ow.
Yeah. And then a motherfucker tries to sell one. What happens then? But they didn't know how big a star was.
Hey, this cool shit fell out of the sky.
Yeah, look at that.
Give me $5.
And the stars have fallen from the sky. And then and every time something hefty happens, it zooms into, I guess, reality. And there's characters and little stories happen. And then they're in Rome and they see the stars falling from the sky. It's just a trip, You can put it throughout different times. And then, the fucking Antichrist comes and tries to make the one world government where you have to accept the mark if you wanted to damn buy and sell and trade and you actually... But, every time it goes into like a scene that's supposed to be like something actually happening on Earth, it can't be long. It can only be like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, because that's the boring bits.
Because that's boring. Well, there's no continuity amongst characters.
Right.
So every time you go in, it's got to be years apart. So some of the shit's happening in heaven, and some of the shit's happening in earth, and you have to make the transition. It's in heaven because that's what it says in the scripture, and then it shows you what's happening in earth. You have to write it. It has to flow really cool, like a music video almost.
Zach says, imagine if there was a religion-based Netflix for Scientology, at which point SideQuest Hero says, wait, I lost it.
They have one.
They do have it, I think. Don't they run a television channel from their base outside L.A.? Yeah. I know they were always trying to recruit us when I was in film school. Yeah.
What's funny is that they bought a television studio.
Yeah.
A television studio. They don't broadcast.
Well, like I said, you can still make like
no
YouTube
broadcast.
videos. You can make like YouTube and TikTok videos and shit like that.
You can now do that shit with a YouTube channel.
Thank you again, Zach. It also seems to be uniquely U.S. Christianity that has this weird outdated thinking on issues that no one cares about anymore and acts so up its own ass. Yeah, I mean, at least from what I know of Europe in general, even though a lot of people there are nominally Christian, they don't really give that much of a shit about it.
I think it's mostly that way here, too.
Well,
it's cultural Christians, mostly.
Yeah, but you do have a significant minority of really loudmouth people about it trying to, like, get all up in everyone's business.
It's not like it was.
It's better than it was, for sure. But, I still think that's still around. Yeah, SideQuest Hero said, I went to the LA Film School right around the corner from the Hollywood building. How interesting that the little Scientologists are toddling over there to the film schools and trying to get people to work on their shit. That's, like, pretty funny.
Fucking Scientologists.
Fucking Scientologists.
When you know all the backstory and all the people involved in David Miscavige and just the way that they do shit, fucking... Where's Shelley? All that stuff, It's just funny that they want to make movies. Though this is the deal, though. They actually don't want to make movies. They don't want to do those videos. They're being told to do that by Miscavige. They have all this money that they've been bilking out of what they call whales. It's these people that fucking donate a bunch of money to them. And they have to do something with it. They can't just keep it in a bank. Or they'll lose their tax exemption status. So they have to fucking buy things that are religious based. They're like charities. They can't make money. So that making those movies is just a way of flushing money down the toilet and making some cheap fucking crazy looking product. Even though everything that they do is supposedly kind of high quality. And compared to other cults, it is high quality looking stuff. But it's just crazy because none of it makes any money. None of it gains any following. Like, it doesn't help expand the church. But that's not the idea. The idea was they had all this money they had to get rid of. And then they'll have all these books and videos, and they'll just put them up on shelves in these empty buildings where it looks like a damn bookstore. It's nothing but Scientology books. There'll be one person sitting at a desk. And a book hasn't been sold out of there in fucking decades. And then they change the books out all the time. New covers. It's like a Potemkin village, like something out of North Korea or old Soviet Union. If you know what a Potemkin village is, a fake village. That's all Scientology is. It's all just artificial.
Well, they want to look kind of like impressive and shit. Gramthars Hammer. Not all serious Christians are pious, boring mundanes. Oh yeah, not by a long stretch. Some examples of great talents: Johnny Cash, Bono, Matthew McConaughey, J.R.R. Tolkien, and Alice Cooper, believe it or not. Yeah, and Dan Michael says Christians are now only 40% of U.S. at best, so we'll see how things go.
Most of them are cultural Christians, though.
Yeah.
They don't go to church all the time. They're not really worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, just like anything else, it's always like going to be a minority that's going to be really, really hardcore about it.
I'm a mythicist. I think it's all mythology. That doesn't mean I reject it, though. I think mythology is very useful. It kind of it helps you build up morale, to keep faith in the future. The imagery is really cool. I don't think any of that stuff's literally true, though. But I think it's silly to fucking hate religions, because why aren't you hating fucking ancient Greco-Roman traditions, though?
Well,
why aren't you out there cursing Zeus? Why aren't you out there mad at Medusa or something? It's just stupid.
Well, nobody is, because that doesn't have any relevance to... I mean, I only hate religions to the extent that they're interfering in something that might affect my life in a negative way. So that's why I don't really care about... there's no Zeus worshippers anymore. Yeah. So, well, not that I know
don't
of.
let anybody... I don't let anybody interfere with my life anyway. They pass laws, I break those laws. I don't give a fuck. They don't pass any religious laws anymore anyway.
Not for lack of trying.
No.
SideQuest Hero said, I think it was twofold. This is a Scientologist. They wanted the skill set, and they wanted to try to catch people who might have potential to become famous someday. Yeah, I mean, the thing about Scientologists is that they're all about the Benjamins, man. Yeah. They want more famous people that they can suck in so they can take all their money.
Take their money.
That's pretty much all they want it for. They don't
Even
give
though
a shit
they
about
have
anything.
a shit ton of money. I've heard they had problems that they're getting too much money. See, they're afraid of losing that tax-exempt status. And they can't sit on it. They have to spend a certain amount of it. So they're constantly building and building. They'll build a building that they don't need, and then it's just an empty building, furnished, ready to go. But it's for nothing. But then they'll give it an impressive name. They did that to Clearwater. They basically took over downtown Clearwater, and it's basically just buildings with books in it. Evidently, there's councils that are trying to get
and not the cool kind of buildings with books in it either.
They're fucking Dianetics.
Buildings full of lame books.
Buildings full of the damn... Okay, one of the pictures that I saw, and this is in Clearwater, it looked like a storefront, high-tech fucking sign on it, It's a Scientology fucking front company. It was beautiful in there. There's a damn office, and there's all these bookshelves. It looks like you're going to it looks like a bookstore. The problem is that each shelf, or each bookshelf, has 3 shelves in it. You know what I mean? They're like display shelves, like to sell books at, right? Each shelf only has 1 book in it, in dead center. And it's all the same book on every fucking shelf. So when you look in there, you see all these bookshelves, and say like you have a bookshelf with 3... Each bookshelf has 6 books on it. 3 on either side. And there's just row after row after row, and it's the same Scientology book over in a big hardcover. And it's like they're selling 1 book in that place. Over and over. And there's video screens of some like Scientology commercials going on 24/7. And nobody's going in there and buying that book. It's just 1 book over and over and over and over. A huge fucking building. And it's just because they had to have that. They had to make that building.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
It is.
You picture what I'm saying, right?
No, I've seen it.
You've seen it. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
I told you I used to work for Scientologists. Yeah. You act like I don't know what's going on.
Like, what the
I used to live in Clearwater.
Were they doing that kind of shit back then?
Sort of. No, I don't think it's quite to the extent that it is now. Because that was like early 2000s. But they were still absolutely doing that.
It was just a beautiful...
I didn't spend a lot of time down there, to be honest with you.
It's just a beautiful building. And all had beautiful furniture and shit. It was all real expensive. And they were selling 1 single book. And they had that whole big old building only had maybe, 20 copies. And they were all spread out. It was just weird. Weird. And I imagine they went in there with a ruler to make sure everything was perfectly centered, too.
Yeah, probably. They sound anal retentive like that.
Yeah.
Stardog78 says, Zoe Lund sounded like a radical Christian. She seemed like she had some problems toward the end. And I loved her in Ms. 45. You know, she was fucking great in that, but she seemed like she was not a real happy individual, and she had like kind of a lot of mental problems and shit like that. I think she died kind of young, although I can't remember what age she was, but I'm pretty sure she died fairly young. Yeah, so what else are we going to talk about? Anything?
What, you want to shut it down already?
No. I was just like, well,
well, let's get out of here.
No, I was just, my stomach's still kind of full.
No. I want some all the food away.
I want some pie, but
yeah,
I'm not hungry enough yet.
Yeah.
We might have to watch some Crustle Christmas.
Yeah.
Crustle Christmas. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was like a fucking question up here, but I forgot what it was. Yes, I was reading something about Alice Cooper the other day too, that he seems like a nice dude actually. They have all kind of stuff in him. He's always going like feeding the homeless and all that kind of, doing all kind of charity stuff. Because I think weren't we talking about that the other day? Because we were talking about Steven Seagal. You know what? I didn't read the article. I just saw the headline, just in my newsfeed or whatever. But I think Kelly LeBrock, who was married to Steven Seagal for a time, came out and like said some kind of disparaging shit about him. I don't know if it was necessarily disparaging. She was just saying, I don't know. I can't remember how she put it. It kind of sounded like she was saying, yeah, he's a piece of shit, but she put it in a more like diplomatic way. But I can't remember the wording that she used. But it's like, I don't know if she just had a book out or something like that, but she did say something about him. So I have to like find that article. That was a day or two ago. Because I was thinking about sending it to you because I was like, oh, look, something juicy came about Steven Seagal, but I forgot to send it. That's why. Lars says, sooner or later they must run out of money, the Scientologists.
No.
Well, the individual Scientologists that are paying for classes, I imagine, yeah, they'll run out of money because going up the bridge costs what, like $300,000
I don't think
or some
people
shit?
care about going up the bridge anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think they care about the bridge anymore. The bridge is like their Scientology levels. They're making enough. They're almost effectively existing as a real estate scam. They're
at this stage.
Yeah, at this stage. They own so much real estate. They're having a problem controlling how much money they have because I think the real estate that they own goes up in value. It appreciates. And they get richer, but they can't have that kind of value. They have to. They can't appear to be a business. They have to appear to be a church or a charity. So it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem with them having too much money. That's the thing. They can't have.
I wish I had that problem.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody give me enough money so I have that problem as well.
Yeah.
So I can cry about how I have too much money.
Aslan is asking about dinosaur embryos. I'm not sure what you're talking about, man.
Yeah, I thought I heard something about that, but again, I kind of just like skimmed through when I was doing something else, and I was like, oh, I should go back and read that, and then I never
Where's the
did.
dinosaur embryo? I don't know anything about
I don't know. I don't know. Like I said,
he can write it. I'm asking him.
Ilsa says, on my watch list, Christmas Chronicles. Yeah, I think we're gonna watch that tonight. Actually,
you haven't seen that, Ilsa?
Well, maybe, but it's kind of Muppet Christmas Carol. We watched that last night. Pee-wee's Christmas Special. And finished listening to A Christmas Carol from 1939 with Orson Welles. Ooh, that sounds cool. Tammy says, any New Year's Eve plans? Probably not. We don't usually go out on New Year's Eve because it's amateur hour.
Yeah. All right.
And the traffic is atrocious.
Badass Domain is asking where he can buy the cookbook.
It is either on Amazon or Lulu.com.
Yeah. And what's the title again?
Cooking Time. With 13 o'clock.
13 o'clock, that's right. No, Alice Cooper was not goth. No, he was rock.
Yeah, I mean, there's been like horror and rock, before goth was a thing.
Yeah.
You had like Screamin' Jay Hawkins and stuff like that, and that's not really goth music. It was just kind of horror infused, horror imagery. But the music isn't really the same.
No. There was things that kind of came close in the psychedelic era. Like, some Jim Morrison stuff kind of had a goth feel to it. But it was psychedelic infused goth. Same with the Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground type stuff. Kind of had some folkish goth type sounds, especially with what's her name? That Nico. Nico kind of had a goth sound to her, and a lot of female goth singers later on kind of had that Nico type of sound. Some of them did. Early 80s. Try to think. Some Rolling Stones kind of had a goth kind of a flair to it. Not all of it, but some of it did. Like Paint It Black kind of had a goth fucking sound to it. Some of the early Sisters of Mercy music, from First, Last, and Always, and then before that, some of their singles kind of had a Rolling Stones sound to it. So there was some crossover in both directions.
Well, Sisters of Mercy covered.
They covered a lot of Rolling Stones.
Yeah, because So there is like a little bit of a crossover there. I don't think anybody would call the Rolling Stones a goth band, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Some of their songs, though.
But they did, some of their songs had like some kind of sound that sort of sounded like that.
Sound to it, yeah.
It's kind of, nothing comes from nowhere. Everything is just kind of like an amalgamation of a bunch of all kind of different influences.
Some of Jimi Hendrix kind of had a goth industrial sound to it. That some of his, especially his early stuff, like the song "Are You Experienced," like half the damn shit's running backwards in there. It's almost kind of like the drums are going backwards. Some of the guitar tracks are being played backwards, and that sounded a lot like Skinny Puppy. The Jimi Hendrix Experience, their first couple albums, well, all of his shit was good, but that first album was fucking way ahead of its time. People didn't know what to make of that. It was almost like proto-industrial.
Yeah, that was pretty different.
Yeah.
At the time.
Third Stone from the Sun. That song was almost like almost like a Skinny Puppy song. DJ Maniac knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Savage and Deadheads bringing up the Stooges, yes.
Yeah.
And DJ Maniac said, the Sisters of Mercy covered Iggy Pop too. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Bauhaus covered a lot of that too. Bauhaus covered. Bowie, obviously, Brian Eno. They did an Iggy Pop song, did they? Didn't they?
Iggy Pop had a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
He had some bad stuff, too. But
no, Peter Murphy covered Fun Time, which I think was Iggy Pop or the Stooges. That was not until 88, though. But I'm kind of thinking... Oh, Bauhaus covered John Cale. Oh. Rose Garden Funeral of Sores. Yeah. That was a John Cale song. But... yeah, they liked a lot of that kind of stuff. I kind of feel like there's a bigger crossover with glam, more than anything. Like in the look, I guess. I always kind of figured, particularly like Bauhaus, they always seemed like a dark glam band. Although Bauhaus are maybe not the purest example because they had a lot of other influences too, like reggae and stuff.
There's another goth glam band that I'm revisited from the 80s. Gramthars might remember. It was called Gene Loves Jezebel. Their early albums, their first 2 or 3 were really good. And it was these 2 twins that were in the band. They both sang and one of them played guitar. And then they had a band behind them. They were from Wales.
Yeah.
They were Welsh. And they were really good. It's funny, though. They constantly, the 2 twins were always fighting. They're fighting over who should be in the band or not. And eventually the band broke up into 2, each one with 1 twin. And they sounded just alike.
Evidently, you can't have bands with brothers, man.
No.
It just never... Gene Loves Jezebel, Jesus and Mary Chain. Wasn't it Oasis? Was it Oasis that had the brothers that fought all the time, the Gallaghers? It's just kind of... for whatever reason, you just can't put like 2 brothers in a band. But they got the ego is too much.
They got all their stuff on YouTube. The 2 albums I would recommend are The Immigrant, which I think is their first one. It's the first one that I saw. Gene Loves Jezebel, Immigrant. It's real good. And then after that one, another one came out called, I think it was called Discover. And that was really good.
Yeah, I had both of those.
And then there was there's a video on there, Gene Loves Jezebel live at the Roxy. It's a live show. It's really good. And it's off of the album. They did that for the tour on the Discover album, and it has songs from both Immigrant and Discover. And it was a really good band. It was kind of like glam. The two twins basically wore fucking. They were kind of like in drag almost, cross between goth and old ladies. They almost kind of dressed like old ladies, big fucking weird shit. And then like Motley Crue, with some of the visuals were mixed in there, almost like a goth Motley Crue, dressed like in real colorful silk fucking clothes and shit. But then it was just kind of like medieval. They just had their own thing going. But the sound was kind of like cross between the Chameleons and The Cure, maybe.
I guess they got a little poppy for me later.
Later, yeah, I didn't like them later. Later, they tried to go mainstream. I liked them when they were kind of unknown, up and coming goth band. Really, what they were. They were showing up on goth compilation albums.
Yeah.
And to me, it was a goth band. They were just trying to go mainstream.
Well, it's kind of they kind of did what the Cult was doing.
Yeah, like the Cult.
Where the Cult started out as Southern Death Cult, and they were like a death rock band. And then they went more toward like glam metal.
Yeah, the Cult always kind of reminded me of AC/DC in a way, like a much slicker version of AC/DC without fucking guitar solos.
DJ Maniac says there was a band in the 60s that was experimenting with sampling and tape loops way before any established industrial acts. I'll send you guys a link. They're called Cro-Magnon. Yeah, I had actually heard of them. I don't think I've heard any of their stuff, but I remember them being mentioned before as being like way super ahead of their time. So like I said, it's just kind of like... I feel like a lot of this stuff is only known in hindsight when somebody that was doing that same kind of thing later got kind of popular. And then everybody busts out and says, it's just kind of like that. I know it's like a weird example, but this is just kind of like how everybody got all head up about found footage movies when the Blair Witch Project came out, but people didn't realize that Cannibal Holocaust was a found footage movie that was made back in the late 70s in Italy. But the fact that everybody thought that Blair Witch Project was like the first found footage movie. I don't know if people thought it was the first one, but I guess it was like the most successful to that point. But it wasn't the first time that had been done, though.
Yeah, I guess Gene Loves Jezebel did kind of look like New York Dolls a little bit, didn't
it? But it's very glammy.
It looked like a glam band, but it sounded like a goth band for the day of the times. You guys could check it. It's online, Gene Loves Jezebel. It was good.
Gramthars Hammer said, I heard a Christmas song today by the Waitresses. Oh, yeah. Called Christmas Rapping. Yeah, they play that one at iBar pretty much every year if you go there around Christmas time. Kind of goth, kind of new wave. Yeah, the Waitresses had a couple of songs back in the early 80s. I wouldn't call them a one-hit wonder. I think they had 2 or 3 hits, but yeah, if you go to any like new wave kind of club or get any kind of new wave Christmas compilation, that song's going to be on there. It's like pretty well known. Yeah, these old guys play gigs forever.
Who they talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
DJ Maniac says, Ilsa and I watched a bunch of old Sisters videos at the club last time we were out, and boy, were they cheesy as fuck.
Yeah, the old Sisters albums are yeah.
What, the videos?
Yeah, the videos are terrible.
The one for Black Planet is basically them just like driving around in a convertible.
That's the car from the Monkees.
Yeah.
That's the car from the Monkees.
Well, Andrew Eldritch, I kind of feel like he's trolling people to some degree.
Yeah, I just think they didn't have the budget for anything. And
that too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Nothing had been codified yet into anything, and he decided.
Okay, so reconnect then. Okay. Yeah, I lost the connection there for a second. It started going red.
Is it back? Okay.
Yeah, it says it's back.
Okay.
We'll see if it is. I like the Sisters of Mercy, but whenever I saw Andrew Eldritch interviewed, like on 120 Minutes or whatever, he always came across as like such a condescending douche hat. You know what I'm saying? He always just really came across like, I'm smarter than all of you.
Well, it was easy to do that back then.
Yeah.
Television was a one-way conversation.
Like, he just always came across like that. I was like, wow, what a chode. But, you know, his music's good. But he just always came across as kind of like a snot. Like, he's very edgelordy in the sense of, I'm smarter than ever. I'm too cool for this. He just always came across like that.
Well, the whole rock star thing back in those days was to be aloof and inaccessible and fucking, you're like on another planet. They didn't survive it. They didn't really survive. Those guys didn't survive when the industry changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The industry changed where the money kind of got sucked out of that. You know, because the record industry fucking fell apart. And there goes their fucking, there goes their fucking high horse. You know, it vanished. All of a sudden, you had to be nice to your fans.
I know. Imagine having to be nice to people. Yeah. That's so shitty.
Yeah. Which that's great. That's why
I wanted to be famous just specifically so I could be a dick to people. God damn it.
Well, if you look at like in Rob Halford, every live show I've seen recorded on YouTube and as recent, in the past 10 years, when they're up there, he stops a show and says we are only we are only touring and making albums because we have the best fans in the world. Every time we have a show, it sells out. You guys are always showing up, and they fucking a huge, thunderous applause, and fucking Rob knows what side of the bread his bread is buttered. You know what I mean? If you don't have fans coming to your shows, you don't have a career.
True.
And his fans show up, and I really like the fact that he recognizes that. If he were to get up there and do fucking be a dick, like fucking Peter Murphy and throw fucking liquor bottles at your fucking audience and tell them that they're assholes and shit and freak out and then get thrown out of fucking your own events, then there goes your business.
Poor Peter. How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, drugs. Drugs are a hell of a drug.
Specifically meth.
Yeah, meth is a hell of a drug.
Yeah.
Fucking attacking your audience and shit. Because he's just so damn paranoid, he thinks everybody's making fun of him. Well, don't act like an ass and nobody will make fun of you.
Yeah, just a pro tip.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle, really. Gramthars Hammer says, question, do you think BTK celebrates Christmas in a solemn and sincere way, or just visualizes killing more families? Isn't that fucked up? I wonder if some serial killers that are incarcerated, if they have some kind of little Christmas fantasy where they're like, well, I'm going to have my regular Christmas fantasy about killing people and, burying them in a hole, but they'll be covered with Christmas lights or have a little Santa hat on. I wonder, do they have seasonal appropriate killing fantasies?
I think BTK is totally compartmentalized. He doesn't think that he killed those women. A certain part of him killed those women. But the real him is a good guy. He got set up by the other one. He couldn't control it. It's that type of deal. So what he does for Christmas, this is how I imagine it. He's locked up, right, in the pen. He sits around going, well, reason why all these guys are here is because they come from broken homes. It's terrible. Terrible. Nobody takes care of them. Give them some Christmas cheer. Maybe I should do something for all these guys. Save their souls and stuff. You know what I mean? Be good to them for Christmas. And he's probably the type of dude that, I got a Christmas tree, guys. He's trying to build a Christmas tree. Yeah, you know what I mean? And he's putting presents underneath there. You know what I mean? Fucking, he's got all these dudes. He knows their prison names. Hey, too sweet. I got a present for you. Yeah. Butt clap. I got something for you. Butt clap. That's right. Here, give that to your old man. Share that with your old man. Here, have some cigarettes for you. You know what I mean? Other guys going by the fucking cell and shit.
Fucking butt clap.
Yeah, butt clap. Yeah. He gives out all the fucking presents to the hoes first.
Sure.
Yeah, where's Suki? Give this to your sister, Suki. Yeah, hands it out to the prison hoes first. Yeah.
I could definitely see it. Well, I could definitely see him being super uptight about we have to do Christmas correctly.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It has to be exactly like a traditional
He's telling
quote
people
unquote
to fucking sing Christmas carols.
Right.
And he goes, "Nah, you mispronounced that."
Yeah, that's not how those lyrics go.
That's not how you do the lyrics.
We have to start over.
Yeah.
But I could totally see him being that type of dude.
Making them fucking do carols and shit. Making him do carols from one cell to the next. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Strawdog78 says you two should write a serial killer sitcom.
Yeah. Well, I always picture fucking the BTK seeing himself as the responsible one. He's there to civilize all these people. You know what I mean? He's way above all this. You know, he's going to help out now. He's going to help society. Well, some of these guys are going to get released, so I need to help society by improving these men. You know, it's going to be like that. You know, I need to be an example to them. You know, of how to turn your life around. It's going to be shit like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know. I did good work for the church, and now I'm going to continue to do good work for the church.
Yeah, I could totally see him.
Yeah.
He's moralizing bullshit like that.
Yeah. He believes it though.
Yeah.
He believes it.
Yeah, I totally think he does, but also he's batshit crazy.
Yeah, of course. That's why he's locked up. That's why he kills women. He's fucking crazy.
I told you in that fucking book. You should read that book, actually. Just listening to his thought processes was just so bizarre.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, well, I guess this means I'm not a serial killer. That's good to know, because this dude sounds like a fucking loon.
Well, you always got to do something good, you know. But no, he's back there trying to redeem himself.
A little late for that, Dennis.
I guarantee you.
Should have thought of that.
He's redeeming himself in his own eyes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Trying to make a difference. He's going to make it up. He's making a difference.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barry Connolly said he was not caught in 31 years. Yeah, that's true. DNA and floppy disk got him caught. Yeah. And honestly, I'm kind of the opinion that maybe if he hadn't decided that he was going to start taunting the police again after that many years, they might not have caught him again. You know what I mean? Because it had been so long. So, I don't know if it was a cold case at that point, so I don't know if anybody was, like, actively looking for him. Now, they might have caught him eventually because of, like, the DNA stuff, like they caught the Golden State Killer. So they might have gotten around to him then. But I think it definitely sped up the process, him trying to get himself back into the limelight again. So he's only got himself to blame for that.
I think he wanted to get caught.
Maybe he was just like sick of like looking over his shoulder all the time, being afraid. I'm not really sure.
I think he was afraid that he was going to die and not be recognized for his great achievements. And that was his...
Yeah, it might have been that, because he definitely did seem... His motivations definitely seemed more toward his own self-aggrandizement rather than
you're looking
being afraid of getting caught.
Yeah, you're looking at this as some kind of, like, shame or something. He's very proud of himself.
Now, some serial killers are shame-based, and they are worried about getting caught and shit like that. But, yeah, he was one of those ones that was kind of like... Yeah, he definitely thought a lot of himself.
Yeah.
And he wanted recognition. Like, he wanted to be famous.
Yeah, well, when he was speaking to the judge, as if he and the judge were on the same level, that they're equals.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, we're all professionals here. Well, let's just get this out in the open. And this is, you know, my little projects, and this is what I did. Blah, blah. And, you know...
And she was a little upset.
We're all... you know... We're all in law enforcement, so we know what we're talking about. Kind of say, wait a minute, you're a dog catcher. Well, I was going to be a cop, you know. But, you know, that's the kind of... That's the thinking, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just help out and help you guys catch the bad guy, okay? And, well, time for me to go then. You know, it's just, he's like that, you know. That's exactly what he's doing. He's manning up and he's telling everybody what he did and fucking that, so you can be amazed at his fucking... brilliance, you know, his criminal brilliance, and fucking how, you know, well, you know.
Yeah, he legit thought he was some kind of like mastermind or something.
Only reason why I was caught, you know, is because the cops have no honor. I asked them if they could catch me if I sent them a floppy, and they lied. They said, no, we can never catch you like that. This is, be honest.
Of course they're gonna lie.
So, hey, they cheated.
That's probably how he thinks about it. Too.
Fucking right.
They only caught me because they cheated.
They cheated. They're dishonored. Yeah.
I'm like, have you ever considered though how stupid that is to even ask that question of the cops? Of course they're gonna lie to you, you retard. You know what I'm saying?
They broke their word.
Yeah.
I'm a man of my word and honor. I would never lie. You know, that's what the thinking is.
Yeah, I know.
They lied.
Yeah, he has like a really weird.
Yeah.
He has a really weird like code of honor. I mean, if you think about it, it sort of makes sense if you're a crazy person.
Yeah, he's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But he definitely did have that kind of... And honestly, like, I think that was one of the things that, like, pissed me off the most when I was reading that book. Because one of the things that and not just with serial killers, but anybody that clearly thinks they're super, super smart, but they're really, really not. And sometimes you have this, too, and this is the thing, the Dunning-Kruger effect. And sometimes people that are sort of, like, dumb as fuck think they're smarter than everybody else, even though they're a lot stupider.
Yeah, I saw a guy who did a study on this. There's a bunch of different levels that this happens on. Okay. Some people, and I think he even had cutoffs of it. If a person is under 85%, if their IQ is lower than 85, they fall into the fucking, or 80 or 85, I don't remember exactly what it was. They fall into the trap of underestimating the intelligence of everyone else. They think that they're smart as fuck and that everybody else is dumb.
Because the world
doesn't make sense to them, so everybody seems like an idiot. But the reason why it doesn't make sense is because they don't have the brain power to compute it, what's happening.
Well, and also I think they also don't have the brain power to put themselves in somebody else's shoes or to be able to see things from another person's perspective.
Yeah. So they get into a lot of trouble because they think they're going to get away with things that nobody could get away with.
Because everyone's like,
they're a lot smarter. But then that same guy said that you also get into trouble with midwits, which are people that are like 110 to like 130 IQ. They're smarter than average, but they think they're a lot smarter than they really are.
Yeah, that's kind of more what I'm talking about with BTK, because he didn't seem like a dummy.
No, he was about 110, 120 IQ.
He did do some stuff that was kind of like smart, but it wasn't as smart as he thought he was.
Now, what's funny is that the midwits end up a lot in like colleges and college type professions. So, you know, a lot of midwits will end up as some kind of a technician or a doctor or even a lawyer. And they think they're fucking smart, really smart. But they know their job, but they're not that smart. And they think everybody else is dumber than them. But then that same guy also noticed that, and he was talking about the differences in society between England and America. And he noticed that the intelligence of guys that are really fucking gifted and real rich, in other words, people like in the millionaire, billionaire class, guys that come up with some new angles and fucking make a bunch of money, their personalities are a lot like people in the lower classes. Their communication skills, they're real gruff, they're real kind of what you would call based. They don't believe in mainstream middle class morality. They're kind of sophisticated in certain ways, and they're above that. And they also don't care about impressing anybody because they have so much money and power they don't have to. So he was just saying there's a lot of crossover between the criminal class and the fucking ruling classes. Their personalities are a lot alike. Rich people and gangsters hang out a lot. If at least back in the day, depending on how socially acceptable it was. It's just an interesting. Intellect is not what a lot of people think it is. There's a lot of different kinds of intellect. But at the top, it's predators. Or you wouldn't be there.
One thing that I found was very interesting that you just reminded me of, I have this great book called Watching the English, and it was written by a British woman, and she essentially wrote it as if it was a sociological study of her own people. So she was trying to say these different cultural things about English people, because she was trying to step back at one reserve and see what maybe other people were perceiving about English people. And she said one thing that was because she went a lot into classes, because I kind of feel like class differences are more pronounced in the UK. It's maybe not so much nowadays.
He was saying the same thing.
But one thing that she noted was that it was interesting, and I'd have to reread it because it was actually really fascinating, because I lived in the UK for a little while, so I did see some of this stuff, is that you could kind of tell what socioeconomic level this person was at by like shit that was in their house and things like that. And she said, interestingly, if you see people that are wearing like a certain brand or have certain things in their house or something like that, that's almost always middle class or upper middle class. They're like people that are actually upper class, as in landed gentry. Yeah. They said because they have so much money, especially if they're old money, they tend to not really care how they dress. They drive old beater cars because they don't have to, like you said, impress anyone.
Yeah, they don't care.
And money, they've had money their whole lives, so it doesn't really mean anything to them. Yeah. She was talking more about old money.
They don't value it as much.
Right, so it's just kind of like they can, and they've always just been able to just do whatever they wanted to. Yeah. And they kind of live in a bubble in a way. Yeah. So they're not. So they're like really the only people who are trying to impress anybody are people who are kind of more like upwardly mobile. Yeah. And they're trying to like impress other people with like, oh look, I can afford this, that, and the other thing. Whereas somebody that actually had a shit ton of money would not care.
Didn't even give a fuck about any of that.
No.
And he was. This guy was. He's also British, and he was studying both sides. He said something similar to what you're talking about. He said that the words and the phrases that they use, there's some crossover. If somebody from the upper middle class or the middle class, if you say something to them they don't understand what you said, they would say, excuse me, or pardon me, or I'm sorry, what did you say? That kind of thing. It would be very kind of nice. If a lower class person or person from the underclass couldn't understand what you were saying, they would say, what? What? What?
Yeah.
Well, you go to the billionaire class, and if they don't understand what you're saying, they're like, "What? What?" They're using the same words as somebody from the underclass, the same kind of phrases. What? What? They don't use niceties like that, like pardon me and excuse me. Just what?
Although I guess in a lot of ways, though, I mean, I'm trying to think about. I guess for me that'd be like context dependent. If I was around people I didn't know, and they said something, I'd probably say something a little more polite sounding. But if I'm around you or friends or something, I'd be like, "What the fuck you say?"
Yeah, it's like, well, his explanation is that people from the upper middle class and upper middle class, their priorities is status, and they want to appear to be as educated and polite as they possibly can. Okay. But the people from the billionaire class or the ruling class and the people in the underclass don't give a shit. It's just what? It's very, what was the word that he used? Practical. No flowery language, just real practical language. Because they're just trying to be clear. They're not trying to impress people.
Mary says at the IRS, they say the poorest and the richest feel like they don't owe. Poor cheats and wealthy cheats have the same thought process.
Yeah, probably.
Look out for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gramthars Hammer says, tell Tom I got a book for Christmas called The Dark Secrets of SHTF Survival.
Okay.
About how he survived the Balkan War. I'll mail it when I'm done.
Oh, cool.
For discussion on the new channel.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to get that started.
Okay.
Mary also says, read The Millionaire Next Door. I've actually been wanting to read that. I'll get around to it one of these days. Tammy said, I had a lady tell me one time that people wearing all the labels are trying to look rich, where the rich are trying to look poor. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean, if you've seen, like, a lot of the, if you watch, like, some big fancy fucking fashion show with all this kind of stuff, I do kind of feel like a lot of those fashions kind of come from street fashions is where it starts from. And then, like, they make, like, a fancier version of it.
Yeah, those fashion shows are ridiculous. None of that stuff's in reality.
Well, the thing about those, though, is that...
I think it's like selling art.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No one's really meant to wear those as everyday kind of stuff. It's more like an artistic statement, just like any other, just like a painting or sculpture or anything like that. And then what happens is that, they'll do the shows, and if people respond well to it, then they'll do like a toned down version of it that they'll sell in stores, for example. That's like another thing that they do. So no one's really meant to wear that crazy shit.
If you read between the lines, a lot of that art selling and art dealing. No, I'm not talking about Rembrandts and fucking classical art, but just the shit where a guy puts a piece of underwear on a damn paint thing and rolls some paint on it, sells it for $10 million. That's money laundering. That's what that is. They're not fucking selling art.
Sheila Ann says,
laundering money.
Jenny, you would see it in Palm Beach. All those Mitzner mansions were filled with worn rugs and old furniture, nothing updated. Old kitchens and bathrooms after the old owners died. Yeah, I kind of feel like, I mean, I don't know. I suppose there's like a fine line, I guess, but people that actually have money, particularly people that come from money, like their families have had money for several generations, because money has never meant anything to them. They never needed money. You know, they travel in other circles with other wealthy people, and they don't really have to interact with the hoi polloi to any great degree.
Talking about money is a sign of being poor.
Because they don't. It's something they've never occurred to them, which is crazy. I can't imagine what that must be like. But
well, I knew people like that in Brazil. I went to school with them. You know what I mean? They owned Brazil, or their parents owned Brazil, and to them it's just tacky talking about that shit. Of course they're rich. Why do you fucking? They've been rich for generations. Why do you fuck you bringing it up? That's the way they think. And no, and they didn't fucking dress in real fancy clothes. They didn't want to call any attention to themselves. They didn't want anybody to know who they were. Because they just walk outside and go to a little barzinho and fucking drink fucking cachaça with fucking poor people and hang. They didn't like hanging out with rich people most of the time. They're not doing anything anyway. You know? And they were teenagers. They were just partying, the ones I knew.
Oop.
Yep.
Went right a little bit. It looks like it's not.
It's coming back.
It's not going down to
It's
zero.
back.
Okay.
It's back.
It's not going down to zero.
I don't know what you guys missed.
Nothing, probably.
Nothing. Yeah, nothing.
Mary said a guy who worked at a bank said the people driving and wearing all the fancy stuff are in debt. Yeah, because, like I said, they're trying to impress other people.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before I got cut off. I was just saying, fucking the rich kids that I grew up with in Brazil, they didn't want to look rich at all. They just wanted to not be noticed, and they'd go around and fucking just party with fucking regular people. You know, they were teenagers when I knew them then, but they were kind of ashamed of fucking vast wealth. It was like not cool.
Ilsa said, my best friend's boyfriend's family is rich, and they're pissed at him for applying to law school. They think it's a shitty career that's below him.
Yeah, well, it is.
They want him to just work in the family business.
Yeah, it is.
Although the thing about it, though, is that, I mean, you should just do what you want to do.
I don't know
if you want to be a lawyer, be a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't know why you want to be a lawyer.
Well, you're not that guy, so I mean, if that guy wants to be a lawyer, he can be a lawyer if he wants to. He clearly doesn't have to because his family has money. So
you got to fucking straighten something out, okay? Universities and university educations are kind of a product of the late medieval era. That was when the monarchs and landed gentry needed a competent servant class to help them get shit done. They're servants to the rich. They're not the rich people. Rich people don't. Some of those fucking rich people, they have degrees, but they bought them. You know. Maybe they would go to university, but just to party. I don't think other people probably did their tests and shit. But when your dad gives Harvard University $5-6 million, you're going to come out of there with a degree. You just are. So they don't take that shit seriously. But then when they get out, they don't work in any business that anybody else owns. They just make sure that everybody working for them gets everything done. Fast money in their accounts. They can't lose money. You know?
Tammy says, that's why I'm walking around my house in a ball gown, because I'm poor.
Yeah. So going to universities and getting a big degree is really just from the point of view of the ruling class. That's another sign of being poor. That's just the servant class.
Ilsa says he needs financial independence from them because they're really toxic. Yeah. I can see. I mean, being raised in a wealthy family, yeah, you do get like a shit ton of advantages, but if they're shitty ass people, then yeah, you're gonna have to get the fuck out of there at some point. And if you don't want anything else to do with them, then you're gonna have to make your own way.
I think right now all the richest guys, the richest guys, at least in the West, didn't graduate from universities. I don't think Elon Musk did. I don't think Bill Gates has a degree, does he? Or one? Maybe he bought one. But I think they kind of came from nothing. Those are internet guys. They were billionaires by the time they were in their 20s, if I remember correctly, weren't they? And the guy who fucking runs Amazon, I think he's number 3. All the rich guys are just. I don't think any of them went.
Well, I'm not gonna say that unequivocally because I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they didn't go. They might have degrees, but they bought them.
Yeah, Ilsa said he's got to get away from his family. That's the main reason why it sounds like a good idea right now. Yeah, so I totally don't blame him for that. Because, can't pick your family. That's for sure. Gates dropped out of Harvard, said Sheila.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I know that scene. Fuck Harvard.
Gramthars Hammer said, I worked a retirement gig this fall transporting pontoon boats for storage. The people who tipped weren't the rich folks with $100,000 boats. It was the regular folks with modest boats who tipped. I've actually heard that from a lot of people I know that worked in the service industry. They said usually the richest people are the fucking tightwads when it comes to tipping. They won't tip nothing. You know what I mean? Which makes sense.
Well, because they don't fucking have any, they don't have any empathy for you. They never been like you.
Yeah, they never actually had to like work for a living.
Yeah, the ones that have been, the ones that are a little bit fucking broke or know what work is, they appreciate you. You appreciate your service. The other ones just fucking take your service for granted.
Well, yeah, they're just like, what? These people aren't just like slaves that will do everything for me for free?
Yeah.
And just appear like little fairies and don't have rent or have to buy food or anything. Yeah, you know, it's infuriating. But, you know, I'm not excusing it. It's just a lot of them just live in bubbles. And they're so used to having everything done for them and not really having to think about it that, you know. Yeah, Mary said poor people do more charity percentage-wise. Yeah, that is absolutely true. As a percentage of, I mean, obviously the amount rich people give is more because they can afford to give more. But as a percentage of their income, then, yeah, poor and middle-class people do give more. At least last I heard. Let's see. Janet says, my daughter is an attorney. My mom and stepdad hang with Warren Buffett. They know how to keep their money. Yeah. Not giving it to anybody. That's how they keep it, I guess. I don't know. I can't imagine what it would be like. Because I've never had money in my whole life. So it's like, I don't really... That must be really strange to not worry about money ever. I can't imagine what that must be like. I'm sure it comes with its own... You know, I'm sure it comes with its own other set of problems, but I don't know. I just feel like whatever problems it comes with, it's got to be better than just like worrying about, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent next month. You know? I don't know.
I don't worry about it.
Well, of course you don't worry about it.
No.
You don't have to worry about it.
No. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. They can't kill me.
They who?
The people that I owe money to, they can't kill me. If I do owe money. I don't owe anybody money. But, you know, if I can't pay a bill, I can't pay it. So just don't worry about it.
Yeah, Janet says, my stepdad encouraged all the grandkids to be attorneys or bankers. Or to do banking. Yeah. When I was younger and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, like go to college and stuff, my grandfather said he'd pay for me to go to college, but when I told him I wanted to do graphic design, he didn't want to pay for it then.
Yeah.
He wanted me to do accounting for some reason, which I guess. Although most accountants don't make a shit ton of money either. No. To be honest with you. So.
No, and lawyers don't make any money.
Depends on what kind of lawyer you are, but yeah. And well, then that's the thing too about like, you know, accountants, there's a lot of those. Yeah. You know, I'm not saying graphic designers make a lot of money. They don't. But I think it's kind of like a misconception that if you get a degree in a certain job, then that's going to guarantee. I mean, that doesn't. It's only kind of like the top tier of pretty much any kind of job that you make a decent living at. Most people just make kind of like a average, middling, you know, even stuff that people think of as like rich people professions. Or, you know, people that are comfortable, I don't know if they make as much money as people think they do. Although some people make more money than you would think.
Doctors and lawyers don't make enough money for the amount of hassle they got to put up with. I just wouldn't do it. I'd rather be a damn plumber or an AC fucking AC engineer putting in air conditioners. Fucking a lot of money in that. Those dudes are fucking pushing. When you actually fucking go through their expenses and you look at what their bottom lines and what they actually take home, they're doing as well as a doctor with a lot less hassle, a lot more free time probably, but they make a lot of their money.
Yeah, I mean, doctors do make a lot of money depending on what your specialty is. Yeah. Doctors do make a lot of money in the U.S., but I don't know if it would be worth it. One, for the amount of schooling that you have to do. Two, for the amount of licensing you have to do.
Yeah, there's all your profits. Your hours?
Well, I don't think it's so much that because they still do pretty well, like financially, but you're pretty much always on call. You always have people, and I don't think I could deal with, somebody like me, it's like, I don't think I could deal with, like, what if I fucked up, or, like, what if somebody died, like, on my watch and it was my mistake, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think I would really want I don't really think I would want the emotional baggage that goes with it, and I also wouldn't like you said, just being on call 24/7. Like, if you have a patient that they have some kind of fucked up thing happen in the middle of the night, they're gonna wake your ass up and you got to go down there. So it's not like, so that's why I couldn't really be a nurse or something like that. I mean, if people want to be doctors and nurses and stuff, shit, man, more power to you. But I wouldn't want to do it. It just seems like man, it would just be so draining, just physically and emotionally.
I think Big Tom's got the right idea. A friend of ours named Big Tom, big old black dude, friend of mine. He fucking owns mannequins. He had a tire repair shop. He wanted out of that so bad. He finally sold that bitch off and fucking opened this bar. And he wanted me to come work from this bar, and I was like, dude, I'm your friend. I can't work for you, man. Friends aren't supposed to be working for each other. But he got mannequins going, and he's making money hand over fist, and he's buying another bar just up the street from there. He's gonna take over fucking Sanford. And he's got some other guys as partners.
Yeah, our friend Scotty's
in there opening it up.
That one's going to be more like of a high-end cocktail bar.
Like a cocktail type
it's
bar.
It's gonna be the theme of it is like old, like 20s, like roaring 20s, Great Gatsby type of look.
If you have the proper location, if you have the right friends in the entertainment industry, when it comes to DJs who have followings, and you have graphic designers like Jenny, and you have online people that can help you promote through a scene that will come around. A fucking nightclub will make money hands over fist if it's in the right location and you didn't pay too much for the licensing, and he didn't pay hardly anything for his licensing.
I'm still on my first drink.
Okay, it's back. It looks like it's back.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. We don't know what the fucking deal is.
Like I said, maybe more people are online tonight than I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ilsa says, I'm just not interested in working technology, coding, etc. Being a nurse is pretty good. You can make 6 figures even without the pandemic and work 3 days a week, although it's definitely not easy. Yeah, she said it's less financial investment for a greater return being a nurse practitioner. Probably so. Although that seems like it would still be a really, really hard job. I kind of feel like nurses, depending on what the field is, I do kind of feel like they work harder than doctors and don't get paid as much. I think they still get paid pretty good, but I don't think they get paid as much as doctors. And I think they do the lion's share of the work, to be honest with you. That's just my perception.
Civilian careers, if you ask me, entertainment. That's the way to go.
Yeah, but not everybody can do that.
Not everybody. I'm just talking about...
Not everyone's entertaining.
It doesn't have anything to do with other people. It has to do with me. I said, from my point of view, it'd be entertainment. Everybody does what they can do. You try to find your niche. Everybody has a different niche.
Yeah, everybody's good at something.
It's funny how, they're trying to do a cookie-cutter approach with education where everybody can be anything. Everybody is everybody. Yeah, there's no bigger lie in the fucking universe. Everybody can't do anything. You have to find something you can do. If everybody could do anything, I'd be a pro basketball player. It ain't gonna happen. Everybody cannot do anything. Some people are just not cut out for certain things.
Well, I just kind of feel like people should just, see what it is that you can do. What do you like to do? What are you good at? And then you got to find
make that a job.
Some way to make that a job.
Yeah.
And I understand that everybody can't do that because everybody doesn't have the same opportunities.
The advice isn't for everybody. The advice is you find what you can do. So that is good advice for everybody. Everybody will have a different response, depending on who you are.
Mary says, Millionaire Next Door, that book she was talking about earlier, shows that business owners, like a car shop or AC installation, they are secretly millionaires. Yeah, that's what I've heard. And it's people particularly if you live in Florida, if you have an AC company that fixes ACs, especially if you can have a crew that go out there the same day.
Shit. Yeah, in one day.
Yeah, you can probably make money hand over fist down here because you're gonna fucking die if you don't have AC down here.
In the dead of summer, if your fucking outside unit goes out, People will beg you to come.
Please come here right now.
Anything. And everybody's busy. All those crews are busy. And like, man,
yeah, because most of the time you can't get anybody there for a few days at least.
Yeah, they're like, it's going to be about 4 or 5 days. I'll throw another $500 on top if you come right now. I can be there in 12 hours. Okay, yeah, good. And that's.
And I totally get it because we've had our AC go out before, and that is not fun.
Yep.
If I'd had an extra $500, I totally would have thrown it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But if I did have that to throw at somebody, like just to come out there earlier, I totally would have done it.
They do.
Oh, I know.
And they start bidding.
Like I said, I would do it too if I had it, but I don't.
Because there are people that are savvy will go, well, how much will it cost to get me to the front of the waiting line?
Yeah.
How much? And they'll go, drop me $500 and I'll be there in 12 hours on top of the bill. Okay. And you make a lot of money during that time. And that's cash. Cash money.
Yeah, because I really, unless you're really, really shit at your job, I don't know how you can go poor fixing AC units.
Nope. Can't.
And really, you don't need a lot of schooling.
Nope. 6 months.
The college I went to, they did a 1-year certification program, and it was cheap. You just did the year certification or 9 months or however long it was.
Mississippi was 6 months.
And and then you got all the shit. And I mean, obviously, to set up your own business, you're going to need like some capital and shit like that. But you could get into
tools. Yep.
I mean, if you have a truck and tools, or you could get in with a company until you saved up enough to like go out on your own. You could do that as well.
You start as a hand. That's what I was doing.
I mean, that seems like the easiest way.
Before I went into the Army, I was working as fucking AC guy, doing up in the making ducts.
I mean, it's hard work, but
it's hot, miserable. But they paid.
Yeah.
That was William Whitman's company. It was my dad's best friend, and I was his right hand man helping him install. And sometimes we just switch out outside units. That was fucking fast and easy. Sometimes we'd fucking fix fucking compressors. It was fucking hot though, man. Bad. Woo. Setting up umbrellas on fucking tripods and doing all you can do. Drinking ice water and fucking tea. And sometimes you're up in an attic, fucking, you're just sweating out fucking gallons of water. It's miserable. But you might be making $100 to $200 of cash a day as a hand.
See, every time that I'm driving around in Florida and I see somebody getting a new roof put on and all the people like working on the roof in like fucking August, I'm like, bitches, I hope you guys are getting paid a really lot of money right now, because I would not want to be up on that fucking roof in August for hours and hours, like all that fucking hot tar and shit like that. How do they live? How do they not die? I don't understand it.
They're tough.
I guess they're used to it. I guess some people don't mind it as much. But like I said, I was born here. I can't fucking stand it. Shit, man. I'm in the air conditioning, and I get out of the shower, and I'm like, oh god, it's hot in here. Yeah. It's so sticky. I hate it. I just hate it. But but man, some people be like up on the fucking roof all day, sun blasting down on you. Blaster1 says, I love how you guys have never asked people to hit that like button. I think you're the only channel not to.
Fuck it, man. You can't.
Honestly, I never think about it. Yeah. We've said it a couple times, I think. Well, you said it a couple times. Yeah. Honestly, it's like, well, for a long time, Tom's like, oh, we should probably like mention, like, say, hit the like button or leave a comment or, Patreon or something like that. But I always just forget. Yeah. I get so wrapped up in the conversation that we're having with, with you and you guys and stuff. It's just like I forget. I don't know. I'm just having a good time. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Hugo says, I'm a prop builder. I work with wood and metal tools. Yeah, see. Gramthars Hammer says, oh, this is a good question. What was the best and worst jobs you've both ever had?
Oh, shit, that's easy.
What was it? So what was it?
Oh. Worst one I had was before I was in the Army. I was living down in Detroit. This was, I guess it was 1987 or 88. Worked at a place called Spring Engineering, which was a company that made springs and little parts for Ford. They were a subcontractor. We sell them to Ford Motor Company. And I had a job where all day long, and it paid okay, but it was only like 4 days a week, I think, so it was just right under full time. They fuck you over on the hours. It was not a union job. had this big ass fucking box, these little metal things that look like a damn shoehorn. You know, remember those little shoehorns you used to have?
Yeah.
Looked like a shoehorn with two slots in one side of it. And you put it on this machine, it held it, and you took 2 rivets and put it in those slot, and then you hit these machines and the thing came down and pressed those 2 rivets through those holes. And it was a car door part. And then you take that thing and throw it in the other box next to you. And the forklifts would bring one huge box after the other. And that's all you did all day long was pop 2 rivets into that fucking thing. That drove me fucking crazy.
I could see that. Yeah, I would literally go insane.
I fucking went insane. I handled it for about a month and a half, and I just said, fuck it, I can't take it. And I walked out.
In some ways, I can see how you could, like, because you'd be like, well, it becomes second nature, so you can just, like, think about something else.
Yeah, you get cut up.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I could do that, though. I kind of feel like, I really don't like doing repetitive tasks.
Yeah, it's a repetitive thing over and over.
You know, even if it's something you don't have to think about all that much, it's still, I don't know. I can't really, like, let myself lose, you know, go off into my own fantasy land or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd be able to stand that. I'd go insane, like, easily. Best job you ever had?
What? Best one? Man, it'd have to be fucking in the Army, of course, but fucking up on the DMZ, it was the best and the worst. It has to be something that's real fucking impressive, something that just kind of like, it was just trauma-based fucking job that was like, man, and being young helped. Fucking, I loved working on the DMZ in fucking Korea. I loved going to Egypt with the fucking 101st Airborne Division, the MFO mission. That was fun. Worked for something called ATAP. It was a terrorist unit. It was fucking the trip. That's all I'm going to talk about. Yeah.
Worst job I had was at a mall record store. I hate people. I hate customer service. I hate having to be
Your job is customer service.
No, I'm saying dealing with dumbass people like every day.
That's at the store, yeah.
At the store. Like, these are mall people.
Yeah.
In 1993.
Man, what the hell happened to this shit?
And I think I only worked there for maybe like 3 months. And then I got fired because I just couldn't, like, deal with it. People were, like, stupid and they just wanted you to be, like, fake friendly to everybody. They want you to, like, call out people that you thought were stealing stuff. I'm just kind of like, yeah, you guys are not paid. That was minimum wage. I was like, fuck that noise. I'm not fucking doing that. I don't want to get punched in my face for $4.35 an hour, which is what it was in 1993. So that was the worst job. That sucked a lot. Best job, probably. Well, this one. This could be considered a job. I don't know if I guess it's a job. I make money at it, but I don't really consider it a job because it's just, most of the time it's just fun. It's stressful, but it's fun too. Probably the best kind of traditional job I had was at Van Gogh Vodka, which I used to work at a liquor distribution company. They made, they didn't make it, but they imported Van Gogh vodka into the United States from Holland. And they also had some other liquor brands like Tap 357, whiskey from Canada, and Lucid, Absinthe. I can't remember where they make that. And so they had all these brands. And it was just this really nice little office. It was in Orlando. And very small. All the people were really nice. And we had a really nice, big, fancy bar in the fucking office. And on Fridays, especially if we had like a new flavor of liquor come out, they'd have all the employees and they would give everybody a drink so you could try out, you know, they'd try out new cocktails and stuff like that. So if they were going to try out a new flavor or try out a new cocktail, like everybody got to taste them on Friday afternoons. Wow. And I was like, man, this is amazing. I get to fucking drink on the job. It was excellent. And I had my own I didn't have my own office, but I had my own really nice little cubicle. It was kind of like back, you know, in the back, like behind the wall. Nobody bothered me. You know, everybody I was pretty much the only graphic designer. So they would just come over. Like I said, everybody's really nice, and they were just kind of like, oh, we're doing this promo with this new espresso vodka and it's this new cocktail they're introducing. So I had to make like little bar menus and all this other kind of stuff that, to distribute all over the country. And it was super fun. I mean, that was a sweet fucking job. Unfortunately, the place closed. So I didn't just lose my job. Everybody did. They got laid off. When was that? 2012? That was a while back. Oh, thanks.
I'm just not cut out for any kind of normal job. I don't like any
Honestly, I'm not either. No. And that's why, when I find a job that I can live with, I worked for a weekly newspaper. I worked for the Daytona Penny Saver for years. And then I worked for the News Journal, the paper in Daytona Beach for years, just because I think I liked that job because it was night shift. The less people that I have to deal with in person, the happier I'm going to be. So the fact that I worked on night shift, everybody that worked with me, there was only 4 of us, that worked at the graphic designers that worked on the night shift. Everybody was cool. There were no managers there. Nobody was breathing down our necks. They said, as long as you get the work done, we don't really give a shit what you do. So we would just get the work done, and then we just sit around shooting the shit, listen to music, reading audiobooks, listening to audiobooks or whatever. So it was super fun. So I liked that too. And I worked there a long time. But I don't know. I'm going to give Van Gogh the edge just because that's the only place I ever worked where they had booze in the office. You couldn't just wander in there any time of day and drink the booze. But at least once a week, they did have a little kind of get-together where they were like, hey, here's a new cocktail we thought of. Because they had somebody employed there, that was their job, to come up with new iterations of, all the drinks that they had. So they would try out new stuff on the employees to see what's do you like this, more of that, So we would try that stuff out. But yeah, that was super fun. I had this one job, too. This is... This is a really weird job. This just goes to show that there's all kind of these just strange little jobs that nobody ever thinks about. I had a job back in the mid-90s, the early to mid-90s. And it was at a little company in Daytona Beach. And their whole product, the whole thing that they did, was that they produced these massive hand-drawn, kind of stylized maps of cities in Florida. They would like to sell them to tourists. What they would do is that if you wanted your business drawn on this map, you had to pay a fee so they could you'd put your logo on there. And they had them, like I said, they were super cute. They had little caricatures of people on them and stuff. It was actually kind of accurate to what the city actually looked like. But, only the businesses that paid, they would put their business on there. And they'd, if you paid more, they'd make your sign a little bit bigger and shit like that. So I worked at a business that produced those. So my whole job, and that was also night shift, my whole job was to go in the afternoon. I had I had a little desk. There was me and one other guy that worked there. I think his name was Jay something. And we would go in and we had all these pens and markers and all this other kind of stuff, and we would just draw. So we drew it by hand. Now they would do it digitally, but drawing maps by hand, you'd have all these, they'd send you all these pictures, the businesses would send you all these pictures. This is my restaurant. This is what the sign looks like. So you'd have to draw it in the space kind of similar to where it was, and you had to it had to be this much percentage bigger than this other business because they paid more and all this other kind of stuff.
Says our connection's good.
Yeah.
Every time I look here, my shit's fucking hung up. Are you guys in the live chat? Are we breaking up a lot?
Nobody's saying anything.
Okay. It must just be me.
Yeah, it's just you.
Okay. Every time I look down, that damn thing's spinning.
Oh, yeah. See? I don't think it's me. It still says green.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Every time I look down, that shit's fucking spinning. Loading. So I don't know. Nobody's complaining, so I guess...
Yeah, Gramthars Hammer said you're good.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I think back on it, I'm like, wow, what a weird fucking job that was.
Yeah. I never had any ambitions for any kind of normal fucking job. They just all looked like, nah, I wouldn't do that. They all looked fucking boring. I liked fucking military, paramilitary, like law enforcement. Fucking, I would even fucking go, you know, I would do some crazy shit. My friend fucking, they're gonna make a movie about my friend fucking Van Vakius. He fucking started doing work contracting for Central American intelligence agencies and politicians there, and eventually gravitated towards fucking training and running the fucking international band of mercenaries, and that band of mercenaries trained the Mexican drug cartels. His name is fucking Timothy Van Vakius. You just Google that fucking name. I got pictures of me and Vam together. We're in the same yearbooks together, fucking up in Korea. He's a James Bond. All right, he's doing time. He's in captivity right now. They got him for killing a DEA agent down in Central America, but they don't tell the details. We don't know why. I don't know if he knew it was a DEA agent, or maybe the DEA agent was corrupt, because just because the guy's DEA doesn't mean he's good. You know, but some client ordered him to kill that guy. But they were running a Central American hit squad, death squad. I would have loved to have done some shit like that if the money was good. And here's the thing. It sounds criminal. All special operations are criminal. He was working for governments, Central American governments, doing that. The contracting world can get into some fucking very gray areas, but we were watching watching Die Hard last night, and all those fucking European fucking mercenaries doing that damn bank, that heist in that fucking building. And I was like, man, Van Vakius was doing shit like that. Just crazy shit, man. But look up, they got his whole rap sheet on there. The feds fucking... but anyway, so I never really liked anything that was normal. We were at the club one time, and had this young kid, and he's with this girl named Bree that we knew. She was this goth girl. She's all cute, fucking stripper. And he's dating her. He's probably 2 years younger than her. He's happy like a pig in shit with this girl. He's probably about just turning 21 maybe. She dumped him. He shows up to the club. He's looking all fucking sad and shit. So it's funny, these guys don't have any father figures or anything, you know. They don't fucking, nobody tells them what to do. And he's just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. And I says, what did you think you were gonna do? You thought at your age you were just gonna stay up in this bar and drink and live with these girls and live off of strippers just for being cute and shit? You're not bringing anything to the table? He's like, yeah, I gotta do something. You know, he didn't
He's
have
like,
a job.
yeah, I did think that was
Yeah, he thought. Yeah, that's what he thought. Says, that's what you think, you know. So I kind of told him what my background was. Oh, you haven't been here the whole time? He says, no, dude, I have not been in this bar the whole time.
Yeah, we've just been in the bar since 1982.
Yeah, nobody teaches these kids anything, you know. And
well, when they're young, they don't know.
Yeah.
They just see us older ass people in there and think, oh, they must have just been here the whole time. Like they're just a bunch of drunks.
So I told him about my military.
Which we are, but you know.
My military adventures, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I want to go in the military though. And I said, this is what you need to do. You need to find a gig that's hard, that nobody wants to do it, and you make a lot of money. He goes, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And that motherfucker vanished. A year later, this big motherfucker fucking hits me on the fucking shoulder. How you doing? And I didn't recognize him. He goes, you remember me? And once I realized who it was, I told him, yeah, what the fuck, man? He's fucking big and shit. And he goes, right after we got done talking, I hit the fucking newspapers and looked around and took your advice. And I says, that got me a real job. Fucking just like what you said. And I says, what is it? He goes, I work on an oil rig. I says, no shit. And he goes, yeah, I just fucking carry...
A lot of money in that.
Well, yeah, fucking, I just carry around these big sacks of fucking sand, and I'm a crewman on the oil rig, and I'm getting my fucking diver's license. I'm going to go down in there and fucking weld on that shit. Weld on it on the rig underneath
Yeah, they
the
pay
water.
a lot of money for that. Because a lot of people don't want to do it.
They don't want to do it.
Well, it's really dangerous.
Yeah, and he was like, and he says, dude, that was the best advice you could have ever given us. Exactly what I was looking for. And dude just loaded, bristling with fucking muscles. He's gone most of the time. And he goes, I don't even have women problems anymore, man. I'm fucking gone. I can do whatever I want. Says, fucking, I got so much money, do whatever I want. He became a James Bond of the oil rig world. And fucking, you are my son now. Yeah, I never saw the fucker after that. He went back off to the sea. You know, and in the ocean and the sea, that's some badass shit. I respect that because I couldn't live out there. I've done it. Yeah, I know it's out there.
Right now, I'm going to tell you,
sick of that
fuck
shit.
the ocean.
Fuck that ocean.
I grew up right next to the ocean. Fuck the ocean.
Lots of danger.
No.
But that is exactly what he was looking for. Young man got to put his shit in danger, or he's just not going to feel good about himself. It's a testosterone level. Not all of them, but there's just a certain kind of guy that is like that. You bring it out of them.
Well, like I said, everybody has different things that they like and different things that they're good at.
Yeah.
You just got to find something that aligns with that'll give you enough money to feed yourself.
The only thing that's close to that outside in the civilian world, if it's not the ocean, then right after that, closest thing would be trucking. Guys in trucking and railroad. Truckers are that's a hard life. You know, I respect that too. But you know,
honestly, I think my personality, is well suited to being a trucker.
Oh yeah, you probably would, because you just fucking sit there and drive and fucking manage your business and trying to get to a certain place.
That's what I mean. I've thought about that a few times. There wasn't so many like fucking serial killers on the fucking shit. I've kind of thought of that sometimes. I'm like, you know what? Maybe someday.
Be a long haul trucker.
I'd be yeah. Well, it appeals to me because I kind of like just being by myself for a long time. I kind of like not having anybody around telling you what to do. Like, you just kind of have a goal. You have to be at this location at this time, and you don't really have anybody telling you, like, micromanaging you all the time. Like, it's like, well, I'll get there by that time. I'll just, like, manage my own shit. I like managing my own shit.
Another real rough one that you can make a lot of money at is them damn fishermen way up north in that cold water up there.
Yeah.
They make a lot of money, too. I think it depends on the boat, but, yeah, that's a hard life.
Yeah, I honestly...
those dudes made a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't know about nowadays. I think it depends on what you're fishing for.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I wouldn't want to do anything on the ocean, because fuck the ocean. Like I said, I grew up on the coast, right by the ocean, and the ocean is full of sharks, in case you guys didn't know. And, also, I've seen too many episodes of I Shouldn't Be Alive with shipwrecks and stuff. No thanks. Yeah. No thanks.
A lot of danger.
Yeah,
but
I'll stay on the land, thanks.
Certain kind of people just thrive on that they can't live without it. You know, I understand it totally. It's just not my style. I like to be on the ground or in the air. I wouldn't have any problem flying. I love flying.
See, I don't like flying.
Love it.
I'm a ground-based organism.
Used to hang out the side of the fucking chopper with the fucking doors open and shit, looking around, fucking throw a cigarette out, sneaking cigarettes in the fucking chopper. Yeah, but you're not supposed to be smoking in there. But we would anyway.
Yeah, Ilsa said I can't stand being micromanaged. I can't either. I mean, honestly, that's why all of the best jobs that I had were jobs where people just said, we need you to do this, and left me alone to do it at my own pace and time. I do not like... That's why I didn't like working in retail. I don't like being constantly monitored. I just don't like it. I like being given a goal and then be like, okay, just do it. And I'm going to leave you alone while you do it. I don't like people that are all up in your grill all the time. Like, you know. Mike Bird says, Jenny, you are an artist. Well, thank you. Honestly, mostly, all I've ever wanted to do was just, like, write books. Write books, design games, do shit like that. Fun shit. Honestly, I've been, maybe, I don't know if it's ever going to come out, but the last couple of weeks... after I get my shit done, like for the show and any graphic design jobs I have, I've started working on another book. Although, it's fiction, kind of, but it's based on it's based on something that really happened, but it's like a fictionalized version of it. I don't know if I'll finish it or not, but I don't know. But interestingly, that's what I work on when I want to, like, relax and have a good time. So that's how you know that that's really what you want to do, because you look forward to, let me get this other shit done so I can work on this, because that's the fun thing. That's what I want to do. But, you know, well, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'll see if I finish it or not. I kind of like how it's going so far.
Yeah, Gramthars asked me if I can apply for Lake County Sheriff. Too old, bro. Too old. The only thing that I've been looking at, what could be happening is Well, I ain't gonna talk about it yet. Some other shit happening here in Florida. Something a little bit more military.
Mary Connolly says
FSG, if you know what I'm talking about. They're reviving a unit called the FSG, which was the Florida State Guard, which that's World War II era. One time during World War II, they sent all the National Guard guys to Germany. They're, wasn't Germany, but fucking to Europe. So Florida rose its own National Guard called the FSG, and they were veterans and cops. You could join that. So that got approved. They have the training cadre together, but the budget isn't. The staff is 200, and they have a budget for it, and they would accept a veteran of my profile from because of my background, they'd take me, but they're not hiring yet because they're establishing a training cadre. So we'll see. And it will probably be volunteer at first. So we'll see. If it's volunteer, it'll probably be once a month, like the National Guard. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. Usually what happens if you have something like the FSG, it's volunteer for a while and then it becomes paid as things develop. But politics are involved. Good. Mark says, I got swole. Yeah.
Oscar says, Tom, not wanting to be underwater is a form of claustrophobia.
Yeah, I'm claustrophobic. I don't like
I'm not claustrophobic. I don't like the ocean because of sharks. I don't want to be eaten by an animal larger than myself, especially in the water. It's not so much being underwater that bothers me. It's being in the water and, one, there being nothing around and there's no food, there's no, you can't drink any water, even though there's the whole thing. And also I don't like, there's this whole like shit that's going on underneath you and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's so much claustrophobia. It's just I don't like floating out somewhere and I don't know what's going on under there and there might be like big huge sea monsters.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Sergeant Deadhead, who's born and raised in Eustis, Florida, that's where
we are right now.
He said you got to be careful because his Florida Guard unit is in Africa right now. See, that was the reason why they're talking about the FSG. The FSG would be under the direct command of the governor, and the federal authorities could not order it to be deployed overseas, you see, that's a good thing because the federal government is kind of abusing the states at a certain level by using their National Guard units as troops, which that's not what the Guard was supposed to be. If the feds want to deploy troops, they have to raise their own armies. They have to stop stealing from the states their little army groups. So no, those are home guard units. You're not supposed to be deploying them overseas. It's because they're cheap and it's a dying empire, if you ask me. So what you do is the FSG would not be under federal command. It would be governor only, which that's what the National Guard was supposed to be. But the feds have usurped that fucking power. But this state had a Florida State Guard, which was a true state army, and they've just revived it. They're going into training now. The training cadre's together. But the dicta was that it was fucking volunteer. So it wouldn't involve a paycheck, but usually how things evolve, in order to keep the group together, they have to start paying them. Or they pay select people. Like, I would apply for a commission to become a commissioned officer. I wouldn't enlist. We'd see. We'll see how it goes.
Mary says pole dancers pays a lot.
Yeah.
Depends where you are. And honestly, man, even if I was young and had the body for that, I don't think I'd want to do that. It's just, you'd be dealing with too many creeps.
Not enough money.
I don't know if they.
Not there anymore.
I don't know if they could like pay me enough. Yeah, I think they made more money back in the old days before internet.
Before internet, right? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because back then, like so now you're getting like the lowest common denominator.
Yep.
Well, now they're sketching around.
Now they're dudes that are trying to actually pay for sex. That's what they're trying.
That's what I'm saying. It's just kind of like so. I really don't. And honestly, like wearing those big fucking teetering ass shoes and like fucking dancing around pretending to like grubby ass looking motherfuckers. No thanks. That doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I don't think you could pay me enough to do that shit. Even if I looked good enough to do it.
The money's online.
Yeah. Tammy said, ever see those pics of a paddleboarder from above and under him is a whale or a shark? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when I took marine biology in high school, and our teacher, I can't remember what her name was, she showed us a photo that had been taken of Daytona Beach. And there was like all these little happy swimmers right here. And then like 30 yards out, sharks. After that, I lost my enthusiasm about it. And I wasn't all that enthusiastic about going to the ocean anyway. Like even when I was a kid. Because even when I was a kid, I didn't go out super, super deep. But, you know, I went out deep enough where I was just, you know, knee-high, thigh deep, something like that. Where you had the occasional small shark kind of be like bump against your leg. You know what I mean? And that would kind of like be, well, oop, end of my beach day. Bye. Going back to sit on the sand. But I was at the beach a lot as a kid because my mom loved it. So she used to like take us there all the time, like every weekend. But when I got older, and especially after I saw that picture in high school, I'm like, yep, I'm not going to the fucking ocean. And every time I've been rewatching I Shouldn't Be Alive because they have a bunch of them on Amazon Prime. So I've been rewatching those, and yeah, that's just reminded me. Yeah, let's not go out in the middle of the ocean on a boat for any reason whatsoever. I kind of feel like most of the people that are on that show, most of them, if they weren't out there doing some crazy like extreme sports kind of shit, they wouldn't have got into that predicament. Not blaming the victim. It's shitty what happened to them, but some of the stuff was not avoidable. Like it was their job or something like that. But most of the time, like there's this one I saw, like these two guys, and they were trying to like, oh, let's ride a catamaran out to this deserted island or something like that. I can't remember where it was. It was in the Gulf of Mexico or some shit like that somewhere. I don't remember where it was. No, it was Baja Peninsula. I don't remember. And it was known for having like really, really bad weather. And the two of them thought they were fucking, even though they were just like schlubby, like Midwestern dudes or whatever, they're just kind of like, they just thought they were fucking Superman and nothing bad was going to happen. So they decide they're going to cross this strait like in shitty weather at night, even though they didn't really know what they were doing. And, you know, immediately this fucking storm comes up. Their catamaran's all fucked up, and they're trapped on this fucking deserted island 12 miles from the shore. No food, no nothing. And I was just kind of like, well, that's what you get. They got saved, though. Spoiler alert. That's why I Shouldn't Be Alive. They did live. Not always, though, because I did see one the other day where it was actually a bunch of people on a boat. I can't remember what they were doing, but they were like out in a boat, and the boat capsized in a real bad storm that came up out of nowhere. And they were all experienced sailors and shit, so they knew their shit, but this storm just was like real sudden. And I think only 2 of them ended up living. Most of them, after the boat capsized, got eaten by sharks. But 2 of them still ended up living. The grossest thing about that was they were in that fucking lifeboat, and then one of the people died in the lifeboat, and then like all her corpse juices were like in the water in the bottom, and everybody's like pee and poop was in there and shit. Ugh. They were all starting to get sick from that. It was super gross. Man, that was a
they didn't know how to take care of themselves.
That was a bad episode. I was just like, you know, that one, and there's a bunch of like people that were like out hiking in the snow and shit like that. Those ones, but shit, man.
Jenny, I'm getting worn out. I'm gonna have to clean up downstairs.
Ilsa said, oh my god, I took a pole dancing class a few years ago, and I don't have much upper body strength. It's fucking hard. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I kind of feel like people just be like, oh, pole dancing, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's a skill just like anything else.
Yeah. It's funny, though. You girls fucking say, oh, it's hard, this and that. Work out. Working out is hard, but you get stronger. The response is pretty quick. It's easy. You get strong faster.
Why don't you go pole dance then, Tom?
I'm fucking strong at the pole dance.
Let's put some big high heels on. We'll put you some pasties on.
Yeah, you're trying to get me in a fucking...
Put some corset, corset on.
I'll put that shit up on OnlyFans.
Yeah, right.
She's trying to play fucking chicken with me.
He's never going to do it. Well, you're safe because you're never going to do it. You can talk shit whatever you want. You're not going to do it, though.
That's what I want to do. Just saying. Fucking pole dance. I don't give a shit.
Mark says, Pookie, where are you? She was in here earlier. She got bored of us talking, I guess, and
talking
she wandered
to the lights.
off.
She's like, "Why are you guys talking to lights?"
She's like, "Why are you not talking to me?"
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. I almost want to put Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas on again to see if she stares at it. To see if she stares at those little otter
Somebody's
puppets
asking
again.
about has anybody seen Tom Hardy's
Capone.
Is it any good? I didn't know that dude did that. I like everything he's in.
I heard about that, and then I wanted to see it, and then I heard like mixed reviews. Like some people said it was like fucking brilliant, and some people said it was terrible. So I wasn't really sure.
I've liked every movie that dude was in.
I have as well. Yeah. So I'm sure it's probably like worth watching. Yeah, I know. I feel bad that Pookie didn't. She was in here when we first started the stream, but then she like wandered off. She probably wandered off and fell asleep somewhere. She's not in that sink, is she? Sometimes she falls asleep in that sink over there. She must have like gone into her little tree or something.
I'm ready to go. They're trying to kick me off my own show.
Yeah, get the fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, no, we still got... You left all that food out downstairs.
I know, I got a lot of work I got to do. And I can't get too blasted or I'll fucking fall down with a turkey in my hand. That turkey fucking flying and shit.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, fucking funny. Take a picture of that, me laying on the fucking...
with a turkey laying on your face.
Fucking passed out on the kitchen floor. Turkey fucking... Pookie's looking at me, standing there next to me like, what the fuck happened?
Daddy, you alright?
Jenny's throwing M&Ms on me and fucking crazy shit, trying to wake me up. Just fucking stupid.
Why M&Ms?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about this.
I don't even have any M&Ms.
I was just thinking you throwing something on me.
Rocks.
Don't question the poltergeist. It says what it says. It says what it says.
Oh, shit. Yeah. I mean, I might get a piece of apple pie. I really want some apple pie, but I just don't know if I'm hungry enough to enjoy it.
I gotta put that turkey away, Jenny.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyway, you guys have a very, very happy Christmas Eve if you're celebrating. And, tomorrow's obviously Christmas Day. We haven't opened the presents yet. We're going to open the presents tomorrow morning. Little Pookie's going to open her presents. Beijing. I got them, like, a couple presents for them. Okay. So, everybody have a really good Christmas. Be safe if you're out and about. And we will talk to you guys again on Sunday. We'll probably do a movie review. So, everybody have happy holidays out there. Merry Christmas, and we will see you guys on Sunday. Bye.